All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Close. It is Friday, November 22nd, 3:46 p.m. And folks, it does seem like this weekend, maybe even today, in the next 2 hours that we are live, we might just end up seeing a $100,000 Bitcoin. We are at 99,273. We got all the way up to 99,700. And quite frankly, can anyone really focus on anything else? I mean, can anyone stare at anything else? Let me know what you guys are thinking in the chat. What have you guys been doing throughout like the past 2 hours other than having one screen open with some Bitcoin price action? Because I mean, it's really hard to look at anything else right here. 99,215 is the story of the day with Bitcoin, seeing some stronger momentum. The Bitcoin proxies getting some love. Coinbase up 2.66%. We've got Sofi is not a proxy, but Sofi is doing very well. 1560 looks like it's going to close above 1550, which would be awesome. MicroStrategy is at 425. It's up 7%. It was at 450, so you got a little bit of decline from 450 to 425, but still yesterday it closed at 395. Marathon, we did a lot of discussing about the Bitcoin miners today on the show with Chris. They peaked at 2671 this morning, still up about 8% at 2595, but they were at 2671. And then Hood, just incredible recovery today, 3659 on Hood, up 4%, went to about 3450 this morning, 3658. Nice recovery on Hood. So the Bitcoin proxies, Marathon, Robinhood, Coinbase, MicroStrategy, et cetera, are doing good because Bitcoin looks like it really wants to get that $100,000 level. However, we got some other stocks that are doing good. Palantir, $64. When I left on the market open, it was at $63.95. And Palantir right here is at $64.07, which is pretty damn good to me. Up about 4.4% on the day, which is not bad at all. And holding above that $60 level, which is also very, very good. Then you got Tesla up 4%. I asked on Twitter today, why is Tesla up 4%? Because quite frankly, I didn't know why Tesla was up 4%. And the comments I got and the responses were quite entertaining. Someone said Friday is the 5th day of the week, so 5% up makes sense. And you know, it's not the most horrible logic for why that's the case. I don't really know why Tesla's up. I don't understand kind of why it's breaking out from here. Maybe there's something technical here, but I guess people are getting a bit more bullish on the Trump relationship, even though there hasn't really been any progress on that. Regardless, whatever it is, I'll take it. Up 4% of the day. Tesla 353, S&P 500 595. Small caps doing great today. Look at the IWM 238, trying to get back to that 240 level that it was at right after the election. SoFi 1560, probably not getting 16 today, but a close above 1550 would be amazing. Riot is up 4.89%. Let's check CleanSpark. I think they're up like 7%. CleanSpark is up 15%. Forget 7%. 1497. That one doing great. And then SoundHound as well. That was doing good in the morning. That's up 17% right here. Again, that was up, I think, 7% in the morning. So you got a nice 10% intraday move. Marathon right here at 26. Honest as well, trying to get to that $8 range. Oh, we're past $8. $8.14 on Honest, up 6.14% on the day. Archer as well, having a great day at $6. So really what we're seeing towards the end of the day, end of the week, Archer right here at 4%, is a market that wants to buy the dip. We did see money market outflows yesterday at 22 billion over the past week go into probably the stock market and the crypto market. And it's funny because usually on Fridays you tend to get a sell-off. And I mean, there was a little bit of a sell-off this morning, but towards the end of the day, as Bitcoin gets into that 99,000 level, you're seeing a lot of more buyers step in. And the entire market getting some benefits. Snowflake's down. They were up a lot yesterday. That makes sense. Down about 2.5%. Intuit's down 5.5%. They had a good earnings, but guidance was not the best. Backed Holdings is down about 5.42%. This is the crypto exchange that DJT is buying. And NetApp down about 3.39% on the day. Overall, pretty incredible day. Pretty incredible day. And we are seeing some good momentum. Now, what is happening in the context of crypto to be able to get it to have this momentum? Well, first of all, let me just share this, and then I want to share another thing. Marathon officially completed their at the money offering, or sorry, not the exact opposite of an at the money offering. They completed their convertible note offering, and they already executed buying up the Bitcoin. So if you take a look at this right here, this is why I think some people got excited about Marathon and also Saylor. So Saylor right here praising them. Marathon is a company on the Bitcoin standard is what he wrote 54 minutes ago. Marathon says, with our 0% convertible note offering, we acquired 5,771 Bitcoin. Average price of 95,554. That is a 35% Bitcoin yield per share. Total owned is 33,875. The dollar amount that the Marathon convertible notes converted at when it was at 18 and they issued them was 25. We're at 26. So within about 2 days, this is why these debt issuers are so excited to give their money to these Bitcoin treasuries, is because they know that the momentum of Bitcoin against the leverage of the convertible note essentially realizes like massive share appreciation, because you get all these people coming in that want to get that leverage and get that exposure, that uniquely can get that leverage and exposure through a Marathon or MicroStrategy, not a Bitcoin ETF. And as a result, if Bitcoin keeps going up, that's what's contingent upon all of this, their stock will appreciate at a much likely higher premium. And so the people that issued those convertible notes, they were aiming for 25, but in a couple of years, they're at 25 in a couple of days. And so they're expecting Marathon to be way higher than $25, which is a 50% premium to where they issued the convertible note at by 2030. And if the money's not due till 2030, and if you think Bitcoin is in a bull market until 2030, or will continuously do well until 2030, then that is not a bad deal for Marathon. Look at Palantir, 64.24, up 4.69% on the day. So you got Palantir having some strong momentum here right now. Someone says CleanSpark is going to do the same as well, big for Bitcoin. I think all the miners, and this is what Chris said this morning as well, are going to transition into Bitcoin treasuries. And maybe they have backdoor deals that they're working on right now. But I mean, quite literally what MicroStrategy is doing is what Marathon is doing. And on Monday morning, it was either Monday or Tuesday morning when Chris called into the show at 18:19 and he said, hey, I think this is happening. It feels like this is happening. Like it feels like that's how the market's interpreting it. I read through a lot of Twitter posts today. A lot of people also are thinking that that's happening. And the man himself, Michael Saylor, says that that is happening. So the question is going to be, does the street give the premium they're giving to Marathon to MicroStrategy? And do people kind of buy into the whole thesis? If Bitcoin keeps going up, given Marathon already has the largest amount of Bitcoin outside of all the miners, there is a shot that that happens. Now, let's talk a little bit about Palantir. Why is Palantir up? Well, this is making some headlines right here. Ray Dalio's hedge fund, Bridgewater Associates, increases their Palantir stake in Q3 by 500%. They now have 470,000 shares. Some people are like, oh, well, it's only 0.11% of the portfolio. That is missing the point. It is missing the point. Yes, it is a small part of the portfolio because the portfolio manages, I think at this point, $30 to $40 billion. So yes, 470,000 shares is not going to be a lot. It is about the rate of growth, however, of this institution loading up on Palantir, which is what matters to me. Also, I got some insight on this. I don't know if people knew about this. I think some people might have known, but Bridgewater was Palantir's second customer ever. That was non-government, second commercial customer ever. It was the Metropolis kind of financial version of Foundry that they experimented with JP Morgan and a bunch of these other guys. Bridgewater was their second ever client, and it was the first ontology that Palantir deployed in financial services. So kind of makes sense that they're getting bullish on Palantir, given it was 15 years ago. About 10 years ago, they began using Palantir. And I think that is making some headlines right now, and that's getting the street excited. The other reason I think Palantir is going up right now is because I think traders are getting more comfortable that Palantir will get into the queues on December 20th in the rebalance. Palantir 64.35. If that does happen, it's bullish. I mean, it's like really bullish. You're going to get a lot of people or a lot of institutions buying this stock. And even at 150 billion, look, I'm not saying it's cheap. I've been saying it's not cheap for a while, but if the toots are buying in, they don't care. They think this thing is going to $1 trillion. 150 billion, last time I checked, is a lot less than $1 trillion. And that's why they're buying it. So that's what we got right here on Palantir. Let's take a look at Grab. Grab's having a little bit of a rough day, down 10%. I did buy, I think, about 20 more shares of Grab today. I'm waiting really for the 450s. That's when I think it'll be fun to load up. Again, I read the Bank of America report again after the market open, and it's a really fair report. They're just like, hey, shares are up a lot. The company's growing, but they're not growing as much to justify a 70% increase. So take some profits. And that's why it's down. So, I mean, to me, it's one of those things where, a Wall Street firm kind of has to warn their clients that, hey, this has gone up a lot. Fundamentals are not fully there yet, even though they're getting better. So let it take some time. In the next 2 years, you have 2 more years of cash flows, 2 more years of positive EBITDA margins, 2 more years of net income profitability. By the way, they're buying back their shares at about $500 million a year. So I do think that over the next 2 years, this thing is probably closer to $10. But this is one of those days where it's up a lot. Wall Street said sell it. You got some people taking some profits on it. And that's what we got going on. I will be buying more of this thing when it gets into the 450s, if it gets there. And that is when I will want to load up as well. Tesla right here, 352, S&P 595. We got about 4 minutes until the market closes. SoFi, 1560. Could not get to 16. We were at 1575, but it would be really nice to see a close above 1550. Amazon down a little on the day. Google also down about 1.52%. SMCI, great day at 33. Snapchat up 7% on the day. Don't know why Snapchat's up, but Snapchat is up. Pinterest up about 2.23%. Look at CrowdStrike, dude. 371, trying to get back to 400. Absolutely incredible on CrowdStrike. Just a remarkable turnaround. 371. Elf Beauty at 126. And then Elastic is up 14% on the day. They had a really good earnings as well. And so Elastic doing good. Bitcoin, 99,247. Currently right now, Rob, thank you for the $50 super chat. Rob, I think this is like your third $50 super chat. You can send $5 super chats. You don't have to send $50 ones. Thank you for this, Rob. Amit, you like SpaceX and Rocket Lab, but how do you feel about Intuitive Machines Lunar? Okay, so I haven't done a ton of DD on Lunar, but our boy Doug, if he's in the chat, he's probably laughing because he was thinking about Lunar, I think when they were back at like $4 or $5, was it like in February or something? So he is more excited about these guys. I have not done my DD on them. I don't fully understand the company as well. Look, it's a $2 billion market cap. Same thing with Rocket Lab. It's a $10 billion market cap. A lot of these companies, Rocket Lab, by the way, great day up 4%. If we think their TAMs are expanding, and we have evidence of that via SpaceX, and these 2, 3, 4, 5, $10 billion companies, they're going to be worth much more in the future. Now, that doesn't mean they're not going to have drawdowns, but I think that's why they're seeing all these inflows into ASTS, Rocket Lab, Lunar, all etc. It's just the space TAM is so big. So don't know much about this one. I can do some more DD, but if it's in the Rocket Lab ASTS universe, then I imagine SpaceX is a catalyst for them going into the future. As Dia says, Rocket Lab just started. Yeah, and again, I don't think Rocket Lab's cheap either with a 40 times price of sales, but I don't think people care. Right. That's the thing. Same thing with Palantir. Palantir, 60 times price. No one cares. Right. Like if they think the market caps will be higher eventually as these companies grow into massive TAMs and these massive opportunities are created because of these massive TAMs, then those thematics are just going to take off. And like that's kind of the bet you have to make if you're buying Rocket Lab at basically all-time highs. Right. Or same thing with Palantir, buying it at the $64, $37 range. It looks like we're going to close above 64. Which is incredible. And if we get into the Qs, who knows, man? We hit 67 before, maybe 70s on the way towards the end of the year. It would be poetic if it happens right at the end of the year. It would be a really nice Christmas gift going into December. December 20th is the rebalance. Moderna and SMCI are probably out of the Qs, and then Palantir and a couple other companies will likely get in. There's going to be like a 3-for-3 swap. And if they get in, I think the move is already baked in, but I thought the move was already baked in on the S&P. You never know. You might have more people say, all right, if it's in the NASDAQ, then we got to get more excited about it. And that might get people into Palantir. Ori, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for your effort. Ori, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here every day. Thank you all being here today. We will have Steve on in just a couple minutes and get his thoughts on what's going on in the world, his new Tesla article, stocks, Bitcoin, Ripple, all that good stuff. And we will keep going from there. No Palantir Weekly tonight. So a couple people can't make it today. Also, not that much news this week in the world of Palantir. So we're going to take this week off. We will be back next week. But we've got another couple hours in the market close to end out what has been a pretty incredible week, pretty exciting week, and a week where maybe Bitcoin actually gets to that 100K level on Saturday and Sunday if the momentum continues to be there. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It is 4 p.m. Friday, November 22nd. The stock market is now closed. All right, we are closed out for the week. And what a week it has been. This was the last week of, well, not the literal last week of Q3 earnings, but given NVIDIA reported this week, it was pretty much the last week of the most important earnings that we had. And NVIDIA crushed it. So as a result, we are now pretty much done with Q3 earnings, and it is up to the market to kind of figure out how they think about interest rates and inflation to take the rest of the market potentially higher or lower going into the end of the year. Rocket Lab closes 23.26 up 4% on the day. Lunar up 8% on the day. 15.12. Palantir 64.33 close. Not bad at all. Up 4.84% on the day. The people that have been saying this is the most overvalued company in the world, they are probably a little upset that it has not been popped in terms of the bubble. Palantir continues to go higher. Archer Aviation up 4.3%. Honest was up 6.54% of the day. Robinhood, nice close, 36.65. Looks like the 35.45 buy yesterday and the 35.10 buy this morning were not bad. You know, my dad called me today, and my dad was like, oh, I bought like 50 shares at 35.10 this morning. He was like, I know you were in your show, so I didn't have time to ask you, so I just did it myself. I was like, Dad, you got a better price than me. I bought it at 35.45. So I am happy for you. My dad's average is like 21 and his average was 17. So he's been learning what it means to like average up. And like I told us at 32, I was like, hey, we should buy some more. At 33, I was like, hey, we should buy some. He's like, no, we have a nice average. And then today at 35, I think he saw it go from 38 to 35. He's like, fuck this. I'm getting in some more shares. So he's learning about what it means to buy into strength as well. And, he's done pretty well on the position. 3670 right here for Robinhood. Tesla ends the day up 3.8%. S&P 500, 591. IWM 238. SoFi gets its first 1550 close since 2021. 1560 on a day, up 3.39%. Not bad at all. Riot was up 4.68%. CleanSpark was up 16% on the day. Where did Marathon end? Marathon ended 2603, up 8% on the day. MicroStrategy 421, up about 7% of the day. Again, it was 548 this week. It was also at 450 a couple of basically 30, 40 minutes ago. Now at 421, still a positive day for MicroStrategy, up 7%. Grab was down about 10% on the day. Rocket Lab 2326, up 4%. Again, Tesla up 3.8%. Let's check the Qs. The Qs 505, up about 0.16%. And then let's check the semis. We haven't looked at the semis much today. NVDA was down. Wow. Guess that money left NVIDIA and it went to Tesla. NVIDIA down 3%. AMD up a little bit. SMCI was a good day, up 11%. Intel was up a little bit. Pretty much every semi was up for the most part. TSM just down 0.5%. Broadcom was up. ASML was up outside of NVIDIA. So some of the money was rotating out of NVIDIA. I don't think NVIDIA was a sell on those earnings, but I guess some people are upset about guidance expectations, which it is what it is. If NVIDIA delivers in Q4, then those people probably will be back into the stock. Dougie, we were just talking about you with Lunar. He says, new portfolio all-time high, took some moderate profits on SoFi, Palantir, BitX, Qubit, Rocket Lab, Tesla, Lunar, Amazon, Microsoft, Archer, Apple, Grab, Meta, MicroStrategy, CleanSpark, raised 130K. Okay, so Dougie did some selling. So let's ask that question to the chat. Have you taken profits this week or today? And have you raised any cash or have you deployed some cash into the markets? Let's see what people have to say. Chris says, Papa Kagraja becoming a degen. Dude, my dad, let me look at his portfolio. He's up on SoFi options. He bought $10 calls. Well, I bought the calls, but like I got his approval. I bought 6 of them for him. When do we buy these things? March 7th. Oh, we've been holding on to these for a while. He's up 243% on these, bro. He's up $4,000 on a, like $1,500 investment, something like that. It's not bad, dude. Not bad. My dad is not used to seeing like percentage returns like that on his screen because he's not really been in the market. So it's pretty cool for him to see that. And it's pretty dope. And he stuck with SoFi. He held on to those calls. He held on to Robinhood even after the earnings drawdown. I remember the earnings drawdown, dude, when it fell to 23, he just came into the room. He's like, those bad earnings, right? I was like, no, it was a great earnings. Just the market's stupid. And he was like, should we buy more? I was like, I'm buying more. And then, we just kept buying more and holding on. And so not too bad for Robinhood today. SMCI as well at 33.15. Palantir, where are we at after hours? Palantir 64.30 on the day, down about 0.05%. Rocket Lab as well up 3.79%. Nothing had too much of a red day. To be honest. It's pretty good. Steady Mobbin, thank you about the $5 super chat. Honest Company's had a great year. What is your opinion on it? Thank you. I like Honest. I don't have a position. It is a small cap. I think their earnings growth was phenomenal last week. Just not that interested in biodegradable diapers. I'm not sure if that's exactly what they do, but it's just not something that I'm too interested in. But I do think it's a growth stock. Their growth was incredible. They beat on the top and the bottom line. They're now profitable. That's a really good thing. Just not that interested in the sector, but I think the growth is awesome. And so I think if the long-term thesis is there, the growth is definitely supporting what that thesis is. Okay, cool. Let me see where Steve is at. I sent him the link. Let me just text him. He has a stock pick that you guys are going to love to hear him talk about. It was a stock that he's been shitting on for a while, but today he said, you know what, I want to talk about this stock. I think I'm coming around to it. I was like, all right, let's come around to it. Let's talk about it. Share your thoughts on the negative accounts on X regarding the Palantir bubble. You know what? That's a good point because I actually made a post about that. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. I've been saying it on the Market Open as well. But all of those accounts that have been saying Palantir is the biggest bubble in the world, I think it's hard to trust them if they're not shorting Palantir. Because if something is the biggest bubble of all time, then that means it's going to pop. Otherwise, it's not a bubble, right? Can we be objective? If something is the biggest bubble of all time, it must by definition pop because that's what a bubble does. It pops. Right? Even when you're eating bubble gum, it pops for a reason. So if it's not a bubble, then you're just saying it for views and attention, which is what I think a lot of these accounts are doing. And that's cool, but then you're kind of ruining your credibility, right? So if it is the biggest bubble in the world, you got to short it. And if you're not shorting it, then you're missing out on the biggest opportunity ever, right? Like what did Burry do in 2008 when he saw quite literally the biggest bubble in the world, or at least one of the top 5 bubbles with the housing crisis? He shorted it, right? So I just think if you think Palantir is going back to 30, you need to have a short position. Otherwise, just like don't say anything. But if you're going to try to, get all this attention, be like Palantir is the most overvalued stock ever, is a bubble. It's like, okay, put your money where your mouth is, right? I think it's expensive. I'm damn sure not shorting it. And I don't think it needs to come back down to 30. And I think a bubble would be a 50% drawdown. Otherwise, I don't know what the definition of a bubble is, which means we got to come back to 30. I don't know if we have to. I don't know if we have to come back all the way to $30. We got Alex Carp in the chat. I'm warning you now. This is a bubble. Well, Carp, you've been selling some shares, so I don't know. Maybe it is. No, just kidding. But look, think about the resilience of Palantir. Even with all the freaking insider selling, this thing is not popping. And maybe it will. Again, I reserve the right to be wrong. I will gladly say I'm wrong in March if it goes back to 30. I'm like, yeah, it was a bubble. By my own definition of a 50% drawdown, if we're back at 30, I'm wrong. Palantir was a bubble. But if that doesn't happen, even with all the insider selling, it just means the demand for this thematic is large. And if this demand for this thematic is large, then I don't think it is necessarily going to be stopping anytime soon. People are saying 83% of my portfolio are the biggest bubble in the world, Bitcoin and Palantir, but I just keep winning. Bitcoin, dude, can we just acknowledge at 99,000 how insane this is? How absolutely insane this is right here. 99,348. I mean, the fact that it's here, it's trading at these levels, it's just incredible, bro. It is absolutely just incredible. Okay, let me call Steve. Let me see if he's good on the phone or if he wants to wait. Let's see what he says. He might have a meeting right now, so we might have to wait just a little bit. Let's see. You said Tevis sold SoFi. Why did Tevis sell SoFi? He sold SoFi? What do you mean he sold SoFi? He actually took profits on it? I mean, I don't know how big of a position he is, but he could have sold SoFi. I'm seeing his tweet right now. Took profits on. Okay, Steve's not picking up. Steve might be in a meeting right now, so we might have to wait for Steve. So here's what Tevis had to say. Let's see. This is his tweet. Took profits on 10% of shares, letting 90% ride. We'll trim more around 20. Yeah, that's fair. That's not a big deal at all. So if I was currently 35% of my portfolio, shares up 106%, and then this is the other positions he has. Yeah, that's fair. 10%. I mean, look, he's been holding this thing since what, $4 or $5. So I think it makes sense that he wants to take some profits right here. So I think that's reasonable. I think that's pretty reasonable. I do think SoFi is breaking out though, dude. I really do, and that doesn't mean it won't have more drawdowns. But I think financials are in such a big tailwind. And there's nothing screaming overvalued to me about SoFi right here, right? And definitely not after they got that tech platform deal yesterday, right? Like, so to me, the big thing that screams overvalued about SoFi is if you think it should be valued literally as a bank and not as a hybrid multiple, as a tech company, for example, then you sell SoFi because as a bank, its price to tangible book is like ridiculous. But if you think they're valued a little bit more than just being a bank, and some of the deals they're getting are starting to prove that more, then you give them a little bit better of a multiple. And so I don't think it's screaming necessarily overvalued there right now. Bitcoin 99,037, getting a bit of a red candle right there on Bitcoin. Oh wow, it came right back 99,200. On Robinhood, it's saying 99,200. I have not seen 100,000 hit yet. Guys, also the 100,000 wall is really bad, dude. It's really intense. I mean, there's a couple $1 billion worth of Bitcoin being ready to be sold off at 100,000. I think it's over 10,000 Bitcoin. So there is a decent amount of Bitcoin just waiting there, ready to get sold. I think I think people want to feel like, oh, I sold my Bitcoin at 100,000, and it's like feels good, especially if you had your Bitcoin at 20,000, 10,000, 5,000, whatever. But the ironic thing is when it gets to 100,000. do you actually want to sell, right? Do you want to let this thing kind of continue to go? I think a lot of people are going to, but then people are triggered by the memories of 2021 where they didn't sell at 70K and then they have to live through the drawdown. And so I think there's going to be a lot of competing narratives going back and forth, and individual people are going to have to fight themselves on what they think they want to do. And we're going to have to see kind of ultimately how it plays out. Yeah, people probably have like $1 ready to sell at 100,000 just to show that they've been able to sell at that 100K level. All right, here's a question for the chat. Who thinks at 100K we go up after we break it, or who thinks we go down after 100K? Who thinks at 100K, all right, it's momentum, we're pushing forward, or 100K, all right, we got it, and then we're going to see a little bit of a drawdown? Let's see what people think. Steve's not answering my text, by the way. I was literally texting him 30 minutes ago, and now he's not responding. So not sure what's going on with him. We'll see if he turns up in the next 5-10 minutes. He might be just driving and he's on the way home. But he did want to talk about his Tesla article and a couple other stocks. So we'll see if he shows up. But I think he should be good. He might just need 15-20 minutes. Wow, we got some downs. Said do a poll. All right, let's do a poll. Let's do a poll on this one. Then we have a couple other headlines that I'll run through. By the way, Amazon invested in Anthropic today. That was a big, big one. $4 billion into Anthropic. Foundation models are not slowing down in terms of the capital they're raising, and the hyperscalers are trying to get in as much money as they can. Okay, so the poll is BTC 100K, BTC after 100K. We continue going up, drawdown. Okay, what do you think? We continue going up or drawdown? That is the question. That is the question. Palantir 64.33, Rocket Lab 23.26. I think everyone's going to be staring at Bitcoin all week. Also, you want to know another stock that was up today? Good old Grinder, baby. Good old Grinder. Grinder passing $15. I now have 1,500 shares of this bad boy at 14.12 is the average. Let me check to confirm. But I have like 5 covered calls at 15. So those covered calls are underwater. Those are for December 20th. And yeah, 1,500 shares at 14.14. So we're up 1,300 on the stock. We're up 6% on Grinder. This weekend, probably, I'll be publishing the Grinder DD on Twitter. And so people will be able to check that out on Twitter. Now, granted, Grinder goes up and down so much because there's so little liquidity. I mean, look, there's 294,000 shares. So maybe this thing will probably gap down immediately. Like there's just like no liquidity really in this stock. So it's hard to sell options or anything on this. But this one could go right back down to $14 anytime soon. MicroStrategy right here, 421, up another 1% after hours. Bitcoin, 99,000. Palantir right here at 64.12 after hours. I think we have someone backstage that we are going to bring up on the show real quick. The poll, 55% of you say we keep going up. 55% of you say after 100K, we are continuing to go further versus having a drawdown. All right, let's bring him on. The most important guest we have as a part of the show that you guys cannot get enough of. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve. What's up, Steve?
What's up, crypto bro?
Are you driving?
Yeah, I'm driving.
Okay, I thought we were going to see your face. I thought you were going to be home.
Well, you know, if we're still talking when I get home, I'll get on the computer. But this car needs to get out of my way first. Otherwise, there's going to be some problems.
You know, if you bought a Tesla, the Tesla kind of warns you.
Tesla would not help me in this situation. I'm in a freaking jam.
Every time I get close to a car, it just does a little ding, and then I know, oh, I got to stop. Yeah. Oh, did you just honk at him?
Yeah, I'm honking at somebody.
Are you having road rage on the show? Goodness gracious.
You don't even want to know. But yeah, look at you becoming a crypto bro.
So we will talk about Ripple. We will talk about crypto. We'll talk about all of that. The chat's saying they love you for honking. Dude, you really honked at this guy. You were like, all right, get out of my way.
Dude, admit, you live in Jersey. You've been in New York. You've probably driven in New York. I guarantee you have honked at people.
Maybe once or twice, but it's not in my. I'm a nice guy. I'm a lover, not a fighter. You know, That's who I am. Anyway, let's start off with.
You have to honk.
So you do. Sometimes you do have to honk. I agree.
Especially, all right, if somebody's in front of you and there's a green and the light was red and then it turns green and they're not moving, do you honk to let them know stop looking at your phone?
I think I've done that once. Sometimes I'm the guy who's looking at my phone.
I'm trying to go somewhere. My time is precious.
That's fair. That is fair. That's very fair. Okay, so we got a lot to talk about. Thank you for being here, Steve. We're going to get into Tesla. That's a new article you posted today. But Palantir up 5% today. Thoughts on a $64 close?
I mean, the market went up today. Almost everything, like everything that should not have went up, and everything that should have went up went down.
That is true, but do you think that
we're in bizarro world, just like in Seinfeld? We're in bizarro world.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Is Palantir the biggest bubble ever?
It's not a bubble. Anybody who says it's a bubble doesn't understand Palantir, doesn't understand investing, because Palantir actually generates revenue, they generate profit, they're growing at a good pace. It's not a bubble, it's just overvalued. Okay. The word bubble gets thrown around too loosely.
No, I agree. The question that I'm struggling with here, Steve, is that, we all think it's expensive right here, but 66, the drawdown was 58, which I don't even think that's a drawdown really. Now we're right back at 60. We're right back at 64. I'm saying this genuinely with all my heart. I do not.
It's going to 100 before Christmas. Yeah, I kind of agree at this point, because why not?
I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say I don't think retail's buying it here.
I don't either.
I really think the institutions don't give a fuck about 150 billion because they think it's going to $1 trillion. And they're looking at Dan Ives, who already has a $50 target. Mariano is a 55. They're like,
it's not going to $1 trillion. Come on.
So Ted Mabry, the global head of commercial on Palantir, this week literally tweeted, "We are going to $1 trillion."
It's not going to $1 trillion anytime soon. Like, when I say anytime soon, I mean like in the next 10 years. It's not going to $1 trillion.
I mean, I don't know, Steve. Did we think it would be 150 billion?
Show me a software company that is at $1 trillion, an enterprise software company, not Meta. Show me a software company that's at $1 trillion.
I'm just saying, if the global head of commercial says, I quote, "We will be $1 trillion company." That's what people are looking at on the screen right now.
Great. He can freaking say whatever he wants. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. This way, I could be wrong on this, but
I've never heard Mark Benioff say that they're going to be $1 trillion company.
Based on what we have seen in the market, based on all the SaaS companies and all the software companies, Oracle, Salesforce, all these companies, none of them have come close to $1 trillion. Adobe, at some point, the numbers are going to matter. And look, Palantir can get more ridiculous than it already is. I don't think anybody's questioning that. I'm just saying that it'll be, if it's the first $1 trillion software company without scaling profitability tenfold, then I will say we're probably in a ridiculous bubble that's going to pop and people are going to get destroyed.
Okay, Bridgewater bought 400,000 shares of Palantir. Any thoughts on that?
I saw. I mean,
sound kind of sad about that.
I'm not sad about it. It's just, where were these people at 20 and 30? Like, AIP was out. These statements from Cisco and Tyson and the healthcare systems were out. Nothing's changed. You know that better than anybody. Nothing has changed in the past 6 to 9 months. Nothing.
Well, you mean on Palantir?
Great software.
What's changed is they've reaccelerated growth. That's what's changed.
That's not what I mean. You know what I mean. Nothing has changed with the story about the messy of AI, the only pure play AI company, how efficient their software is for companies. It's the only company that can create a digital twin. And
I think we lost him. Steve, we lost you. You guys can't hear him, right? Or is that me? No, that's definitely Steve, right? That's you guys, right? You don't hear him? Yeah, that's Steve. That's Steve. Palantir figured out he was talking shit, bro.
All right, I'm back. One more.
We saw your beautiful hair. It was great. I loved it.
Oh, I hit the wrong button. I thought it was on mute. All right, so yeah, we're not in a bubble, but we could be in a bubble at some point.
Okay, so let's talk about your Tesla downgrade today. So, Steve, I love you as an analyst, but Tesla went up 4%. So I think your rating downgrade had very little impact today.
I didn't think it was going to have any impact on it. Just writing what I think is right. I mean, look, I'm a shareholder. Okay, it doesn't benefit me to say I'm not bullish on the valuation right now. But at the same time, look, this is so overdone. The Trump trade is so overdone on Tesla This is insanity. Bring up, since I am driving, please, the article and go to the forward earnings table that I created. I pretty much memorized Tesla and NVIDIA at this point because I've talked about it so much to people.
So you got Tesla. Go ahead.
Tesla's trading at like 86 times or 88 times 2026 earnings with 64% EPS growth over the next 2 years. Everybody who's a growth investor that used to roast me that I don't understand growth investing, or I don't understand growth, used to say you pay up for growth. You pay up for growth. You pay more on EPS for a faster growing company. That is all people have said to me. Okay, cool. Hold my beer. NVIDIA is trading at
No. For you, it's hold on. For you, it's hold your milk. Don't say beer.
Okay, fine. Hold my milk. NVIDIA is trading at 27 times 2026 earnings with 88% EPS growth over the next 2 years. You want to pay for growth? Why on earth would you pay 88 times earnings for 64% growth when you could pay 27 times earnings for 88% growth? Not to mention, Tesla will be lucky if they do 15 billion in net income this year to 18 billion in net income this year. NVIDIA is doing that every 3 months at this point. So why are we even saying that this is a realistic valuation for Tesla? And the only reason Tesla's net income is that high is because of the tax incentives that they have. You look at their free cash flow, it's like $3.5 billion for the TTM because they're spending so much on CapEx. I mean, this company is so overvalued right here.
So we'll talk more about NVIDIA because you're a pretty large shareholder in NVIDIA, and I want to get your thoughts on their earnings. But it is struggling to me why you're using all of these conventional valuation metrics for a company whose potential is beyond imagination, like literally beyond imagination. I don't know why that's what you're hung up on when it comes to Tesla.
Because at some point, numbers matter. At some point, profitability matters. And Amazon and NVIDIA potentially have more earnings potential over the next 5 to 10 years. Like the things that makes Tesla exciting are so far away, and I'm fine owning it and holding it.
But hold on, that's what I disagree with. You saw the Kim Kardashian pictures with the robot. I don't think Optimus is as far away as we think. If the marketing they're doing is sending robots out to celebrities.
Okay, when do you think you and I will be able to buy them? When do you think they start really producing?
So again, I don't care about a robot doing my dishes. I care about Walmart having a 1 million order.
I agree.
So I think in 2025 they're going to announce something about robots,
which would be great,
and a purchase order,
which would be great. But they still have to build manufacturing. They still have to start selling and scaling. Which what does that take? 2-3 years maybe from here?
But that the street doesn't care about that. The street cares about all right. If we assume they will execute, which is what the street's doing for every good.
There's
company.
A lot of assumptions being made.
Well, there's only a couple companies working on robots realistically.
I know.
And Figure, their competitor, put out a pretty damn good video 2 days ago, which means Tesla is definitely cooking something up that Figure is getting to mass production, or at least mass scale. So if Wall Street is not factoring in Optimus at all, which we can all agree they're not, maybe they're overvaluing FSD, but they're not valuing at all Optimus, why would you downgrade the rating on Tesla purely on numbers?
Because in the short term, 6 to 12 months, their earnings potential and revenue growth is not exciting based on how much is already priced in. And we have no idea when these other things are going to come to fruition. And the $7,500 tax credit potentially going away, is not bullish. I don't understand why everybody thinks this is bullish. That is going to hurt the EV market. The majority of Tesla shareholders, the average Tesla shareholder, generates more household income than the threshold for receiving the tax credit. Their customers really aren't worried about that tax credit. But that's going to hurt Ford, it's going to hurt GM, it's going to hurt Hyundai. And in turn, that will hurt Tesla because Tesla will not be able to cross-sell their FSD platform to those companies and take a piece on a monthly basis from all the users. So in the short term, I think that Tesla's coming down. It's going to retrace. I don't think it's going to keep going up.
Chris asked in the chat, Amit asked Steve if his thesis covers the possibility of Tesla creating sex robots.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think you'll have a different company do that. I just don't think they can get away with that.
But if they did, we're going to 500 trillion. Like that's.
I mean, if they did, humanity's over, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty bad if people did not actually engage in that activity if they were doing it with a robot. Like that, I feel like that would be the end of humanity.
Well, there's no more reproduction at that point.
That's not the best thing. Correct.
No, definitely not.
Okay, cool. So that's your thoughts on Tesla. Let's talk about NVIDIA. I got to give you credit here. All right. You were pounding NVIDIA at 125 in like July or April or whatever. And then it went all the way down to 90. You were pounding NVIDIA 90, came back to 125, then went all the way back down to 102. You were pounding NVIDIA. You've been buying this stock hand over fist, even though you were still kind of late to the party. You weren't in the 30s, 40s, or 50s. But from 90 to 120, you said it was a buy. Down 4% today. My question is, was those earnings at all a red flag to you?
Oh my God, they were incredible. Anybody who thinks they're a red flag should just buy a mutual fund. I mean, look, the bottom line is I wasn't bullish on it because at the time AI wasn't a thing and I thought that they were overvalued based on what they were selling to miners. But their profitability is scaling like no other company. I'm not just saying that, that's the actual facts. They have a 54.5% profit margin, not gross, but bottom line profit margin. They generated 19 billion in the past 3 months in net income. At this rate, based on their guidance, which I think is low for Q4, generating 37.5 billion revenue, they are putting themselves on a run rate to probably reach 90 billion in net income next year. And even if they stay at what Q4 numbers are projected to be, they will exceed 80 billion in pure profit next year. So it is absolutely incredible. The demand for these chips is incredible. And I just can't say enough good things about these earnings. And I hope it keeps going down so I can buy more shares and keep writing cover calls. I mean, the premiums are huge. And when you really talk about growth investing or you talk about growth, bottom line is they have the most EPS growth potential in the Mag 7 over the next 2 years, and they're trading at under 30 times forward earnings. This is the cheapest NVIDIA has been in years. It is incredible. And the fact that people are selling it off, they are crazy. Because if we really are going into a robotics revolution.
Oh, we lost you, Steve. We lost him. There you go. You're back. You're good.
No, I'm back. Somebody called me. Yeah, NVIDIA's so far ahead of everybody. Nobody's catching them on chips.
So here's my question.
Interchangeable.
Why did they sandbag this guidance? Because if they had said 39 billion, it would be up at 150 right now.
I mean, why does Noto sandbag? Everybody sandbags guidance at this point.
Well, here's the better question. Do you think they're sandbagging or are they actually going to do 37?
So I think they're probably sandbagging this quarter. Maybe they sandbag Q1 also. I think because they're going into a new product ramp, I think that they're just covering their bases for how quickly they get chips out the door. But after Q1 2025, I think it's off to the races because 2025 is going to be a bigger CapEx spend year than 2024 was.
So Brad Gerstner said they are buying more NVIDIA on the dip and that the street totally thinks that this is only about training clusters where it's about every computer being powered by a GPU data center. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, I listened to it. Look, he's super smart, great investor. He's nailed a lot of things. You know, he was one of the only people that was saying the same thing that I was with Meta. He wrote the open letter to Zuckerberg. I mean, I agree with him 100% in the fact that this is a buy. What I don't agree with at the moment is that we are going to see NVIDIA chips overtake AMD and Intel for CPUs, but that remains to be seen. I mean, right now, GPUs are not made for specific computing. So maybe that changes in the future. I don't know. I haven't really looked at the product roadmap, but I would have a hard time just having a pretty good understanding of what chips do and what you need. I have a hard time believing that they're going to dominate computing on a personal PC level and on a server level. I just don't see it, but I could be wrong. But regardless, the profitability scalable is crazy.
Brad's buying Google here. Do you agree with that as well?
Yeah, this whole DOG thing is bullshit.
Dude, I mean, the streets really took it down a good 8% this week.
Yeah, the DOJ thing is bullshit.
So you think so? Do you think the market's just scared of Chrome actually leaving, and that's why they're selling
I think
it off?
they're scared of this thing getting broken up. I think they're scared of a lot of things. I don't believe this stuff's going to happen unless Microsoft has some crazy game with somebody in the Trump administration or something, because it benefits Microsoft the most if this gets spun out. I mean, I don't see it.
Do you think Google right now is trying to figure out how they can get someone on the inside of the Trump admin? Like, because Elon doesn't need anyone on the inside of Tesla because he is the guy who has Trump's ear. Elon was on the phone call with Trump and Sundar this week. Do you think Sundar is looking for someone to get them into the good graces of the Trump administration?
I don't know. I mean, who knows? Wouldn't surprise me.
I feel like every Mac 7 is. All of them. I think Zuck's definitely needs to because, in 2016, they had their beef with Trump. Like, I think every one of the Mac 7 is realizing people actually voted for this guy. We need to deal with him, and we need to get friendly. Now, Elon got the biggest head start, which is why the stock has gone up so much. But it's hard for me to imagine that they don't convince someone in the administration to tell the DOJ to, like, cool down.
I don't know that it matters because really think about who's on the inside. The big players in big tech are on the inside. There is no way Peter Thiel thinks that these companies should be broken up. We know for a fact that David Sachs and Chamath don't think so.
Yeah.
They said on the Olin podcast. They're on the inside. So the Trump administration is going to listen to these guys when it comes to these types of policy changes, especially since they're all very good friends with Vance. Don't forget, Vance was a venture capitalist. They are a big reason he's on the ticket. This is a nothing burger, in my opinion. Especially, and I was pretty vocal about in the article, especially if they get rid of Lena Khan, which it certainly looks like she's the first one to go.
Okay. Let's talk about SoFi. Broke out 1550. You called this one since $5-6. You think we're on a path to 20 for SoFi?
Yeah, I think that the short squeeze is starting. I don't think a lot of it's happened yet. And I mean, this thing is still like 15% short, 16% short. I think they're going to get squeezed out. And I think it's going to keep going up at this point, especially if Noto keeps delivering. And the big thing, I think 2025 is going to be a big year for them because I do think that they're going to prove they're the AWS of fintech. More importantly, that I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this stock has driven you crazy for a while, but...
Well, you listened to the earnings call, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Noto said something very specific on the call, and he specifically said they have been working on RFPs, large financial institutions, for 12 to 18 months now. And they are getting close to decisions, and they believe they will win many of the RFPs that they are involved in. So if they're going to win many of the RFPs that they're involved in, and they're involved in a bunch of large banks, you got to think that at least one or two really big names is switching over to them. And it's a question of budgeting and timing for these banks, but they are all feeling the pressure because of regulation changes and different types of things that they have to make these changes. SoFi is the only company that owns the entire back end and has a complete full stack product that these companies can move to. They're the only company that does everything. So you have to think, if that happens, not only are they saving the money, which is now after 2025, right now we're at 70 to 80 million a year that they're saving from moving on to the Technesis platform with Galileo. After that, it'll be 60 to 70 million annual savings that they're saving. Not only will they do that, they're going to be cross-selling that platform to other financial institutions. They're going to be generating incremental revenue from that. And you got to think, if that's what SoFi's saving themselves, you're talking about probably 9-figure contracts on an annual basis that they're going to be signing, if not bigger. So it's going to be pretty interesting because if that happens and banking as a service actually happens, which it looks like it will, and SoFi does become the AWS of fintech, which they're the only one that pretty much can, you get a tech multiple. not a bank multiple. The last bear case or the last narrative about SoFi is just a bank holds no weight anymore.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that tech multiple has always been the thing that has been stopping the stock from going up, but now it seems like they're getting a broader multiple based on the deals they're getting. I want to transition to crypto, Steve. So there's a lot of questions here. I'll talk about Ripple as well. I have some notes on them, so definitely want to get.
You did some research?
I did some research on good old XRP, so we'll talk about that. But my first question to you is MicroStrategy the greatest Ponzi scheme ever?
I don't think you can call it a Ponzi scheme.
Okay, so what is it to you? What is MicroStrategy currently? What are they doing with Bitcoin right now?
The greatest holding company there is. I don't know. Can't call it a Ponzi scheme. It's a holding company. It's not like they're freaking ripping people off.
Okay, so you think so? What is your so? In a nutshell, he's raising interest-free debt, buying Bitcoin with convertible notes, and then that converts into equity, and then the shareholders are happy and the debt issuers are happy. Do you think this is a legit operation?
I mean, I haven't looked into it, the 10Qs or 10Ks to really go through it. But I mean, I don't think what he's doing, he's not putting a gun to anybody's head to buy the debt. Everybody knows that the debt that they're investing in is going to buy Bitcoin. He's been very clear about that. I mean, it's not like the guy's turning around and buying Cardano or Ethereum or XRP or going and buying a software company. Like, he is sticking to the script. He's doing everything he says. I mean, I don't think he's ripping people off. I think everybody knows what the business plan is.
Would you buy MicroStrategy here?
No, I mean, why not just buy Bitcoin at that point?
Well,
all it is a proxy for Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's just a leverage proxy for Bitcoin that he keeps raising 0% billions of dollars for to keep.
Right, and at some point he has to pay that debt back. So at some point he's going to have to either figure out a way to make money off the Bitcoin or sell Bitcoin.
Or just issue more shares, because that's where the convertible.
Or you can just keep doing that. Bitcoin goes up, and same way that Tesla has grown the company by issuing shares and diluting the hell out of shareholders.
Correct. I mean,
it's entirely possible.
So having said that, what do you think the next 4 years look like for crypto with Trump in the White House?
I mean, I think it looks bullish at this point. I mean, he's turned into a full crypto bro. I mean, Barron's pretty big in crypto from what it looks like, and they are appointing people and bringing people in that are pro crypto. And look, I think it's a good thing. The bottom line is that crypto's not going away. Regardless of how you feel about it, I have my feelings on it. If crypto's not going away, the U.S. 100% needs to be a leader in the crypto industry, and you can't do that with fragmented legislation. And we should be the leaders in this emerging technology, and we should have a government that has clear policy and is pro-expansion in this area if it's not going away. Because why would you want other countries to lead this venture? You don't. You want the expansion to happen here, you want the projects here, and you want the U.S. to benefit above all others.
What do you think of Chris's marathon thesis?
Oh, no, I don't really care about the miners.
So, but if this miner Marathon becomes a pseudo MicroStrategy at a better premium, do you think that's exciting at all, or?
I mean, to me, no, but to a lot of people, probably. I mean, look, he's making money on it. That's all that matters. It's not for me. Look, my question is always, I'm sure that there's a very good answer for this, but what happens when it gets harder and harder? Like, every block that is solved, difficulty goes up on mining. There's not many Bitcoins left to be mined. What happens when we get to a point where there's very few being mined? What happens to all this equipment? And what happens to the network? Like, how are these companies going to make money to keep the network going? Like, somebody needs to explain that to me.
I think that's the thesis behind Mara, is that they're transitioning from being a miner to being a holding company like Micro. I mean, they raised $1 billion for free, essentially, right? And they bought Bitcoin today at 98,000, 95,000. And now investors, like, Marathon is outperforming all the miners right now because now people are thinking that they're going to do the MicroStrategy thing, which maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, right?
I mean, look, the real question that needs to be asked is, when there are no more Bitcoins left to be mined, okay, how do these companies make money? And how does the network that has been built? Because keep in mind, Bitcoin needs this Bitcoin network to stay up for this still to be used.
Yeah, I mean, the price of Bitcoin would have to go higher to do the mining operations, as Matt says in the chat. So theoretically, Bitcoin should be higher. So even if it costs more to mine it, the reward is much better.
I get that, but when you're done mining, is what I'm saying.
Dude, they're not going to be done mining until 2140. That's when the last Bitcoin is mined.
But
I looked it up.
with all the technology and power that's going into it, and the hash rate's going up, can't that year change?
No, because there's only 450 you can do daily, right? That's set inside of the.
Is that true? I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea.
They can be more effective. They're going to be competing. Like, so if CleanSpark has a better hash rate, they can get more of the Bitcoin than Riot, for example, but they can't literally have more than 450. That's the beauty.
I think we need to look into that, because I don't think that that's correct.
No, that's facts. There's a certain amount that are able to be mined per year, and it's now 450, right, guys? Is it 450? Is 450 a day or 450 a year? Pretty sure it's 450 a day.
Definitely not a year.
Yeah, it's definitely not a year.
Because there's 21 million total supply.
Can be mined a day. It is 144 blocks per day on average. So this one's saying 900. No, 450 a day. Yeah, it used to be 900. Now it's 450. Okay, so so
all right, so that's what
unless someone hacks the code, it's 450 a day. Which means it's gonna get, but like that's the fun thing about this whole experiment, right? Financially, it's like, all right, if there's only 450 and Salvador wants it, the Saudis wants it, Trump wants it, retail wants it.
If everybody wants it, it's gonna go up. I mean, it's supply and demand.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're seeing MicroStrategy have this momentum right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so let's talk about Ripple. So I'm going to give you a simple 5 bullet point understanding of Ripple, and I want you to tell me if I'm on the money here, and then I want you to give the audience the bull case for why you like this. Ripple, by the way, currently is trading at 146.
I'm going to correct you already, because you're already screwing up.
How am I screwing up? Oh, XRP. Sorry. XRP.
Because you should be saying XRP, not Ripple, because Ripple is a company, XRP is the currency.
Okay, so XRP. We'll call it XRP. XRP's up 61% in 7 days. It's at $1.45. Obviously, it's being lifted with the rest of the crypto market, but it is outperforming all the other cryptos this week. And so it is doing well. All right, so here's my 5 bullet points. Number 1, Ripple has fast payments. So international payments, from what I'm understanding, are faster and cheaper. No one's really sending Bitcoin as a form of payment. So the use case of it really, I mean, some people do it, but it's not as attractive as a currency that's dedicated to that. There's a limited supply. That's my second thing. I believe there's 100 billion tokens available, which is a lot more than 21 million, but still. And also some of them get burned with each transaction. So that makes it more valuable. And then the third thing I was going to say is the central bank interest, aka the BRICS parts of the world that want to like work with Ripple as a alternative currency or as a reserve currency to an extent. That is also what makes it exciting. I know I'm saying Ripple too much, but I mean XRP. Is that a sort of overarching thesis on this actually being the currency that people can use to pay for stuff in the future internationally, making it valuable?
Yeah, I mean, you did a good job. I just asked that you watch 1 or 2 interviews with Garlinghouse, but yeah, let me expand on what you said. So XRP has tremendous utility. It was created to solve a problem. The SWIFT banking network was created in the 70s, and it's still built on archaic architecture. If I want to send money to Japan, it needs to go through a wire. It needs to go through several intermediary banks. It takes several days to settle, and it has significant fees because of all the banks that take a vig. XRP is a bridge currency providing financial liquidity for transactions. It solves a cross-border payment. If I want to get money to California, the quickest way to do it right now, take Bitcoin out of it, is to fly it there. Sending a bank wire to somebody in California, which is still in this country, takes days. Okay? XRP.
Well, hold on. If I wanted to Zelle somebody money in California, that takes seconds.
Does that really settle though? Immediately, where you can pull?
Well, no, it settles, but you can only do up to 4,000. So that's
if I want to take 10 grand and get it to somebody, the quickest way to get it there is to fly it there. Other than other types of cryptocurrencies, and this has always been the bull case around crypto, is peer-to-peer or cross-border B2B payments solution. So now Bitcoin can do 7 transactions a second. And some transactions can take up to 2 hours to settle. The fluctuation in its price is severe, and this was never meant to be a payment method. It was always meant to be a store of value.
Right.
Ripple is partnered with many different financial institutions, including governments. XRP is the currency on their ledger. If I want to send money to Japan, I can buy XRP in USD. I can send it to somebody's wallet. It settles in 3 seconds, and they can exchange it and pull it out in yen. And the entire process, if both of us are synced, take 10 to 15 seconds, and they have their money.
So hold on. It goes through XRP and turns into dollars. That's how
you can exchange it. Yeah, you can exchange it, sell around the exchange.
Okay, so, and Ripple is the company that issues the XRP?
So Ripple is the company, XRP is the currency on the Ripple network, and they can do 1,500 transactions a second and scale to have more throughput than Visa. Think about that for a second. They can scale to do more throughput than Visa. That's why everybody likes Solana so much, because it's really a very similar thing as XRP. And the difference is Brad Garlinghouse already has all of the connections with BRICS. He has all the connections with Dubai. He's meeting with Trump. He has been forging these relationships for years and years and years. Central Bank of Ireland. I mean, there is such utility for this. And the idea was to make it cheaper and faster for businesses to conduct business, for government to conduct business, and to overhaul the banking system and cross-border payments. So when it comes to that, XRP has incredible utility. And that is why I'm very bullish on it, because I think if there's going to be one coin that solves a problem that really does need to be solved, it's going to be the underlying technology that Ripple is creating, because it's already underlining in so many banks and so many protocols.
So why? I'm assuming there's a lot of competition to do this use case, because it sounds like a simple use case, international transfer. How does Ripple or how does XRP navigate alternative protocols or coins?
Well, you got to get the banking institutions on board, and they're getting on board with Ripple. I mean, you look at JP Morgan, Bank of America, there's a lot of literature on this. It's going to be who the banks trust and who the banks affiliate themselves with. That's going to be the one that wins. And right now, it looks like XRP is going to be the winner in that space. The SEC lawsuit stifled XRP for the longest time. Gensler was picking winners, okay? When all this is lifted, which is going to come very soon, they already won the first leg of it. I think the rest is going to get thrown out. It's going to be off to the races, especially with the Trump administration being pro-crypto. So I think you're going to have a couple of winners.
And you think legitimately people actually want to use Ripple as a way to send money? You think
I think people want a cheaper, faster method to send money? And whether it's XRP, Solana, or something else, they would rather do that than send a bank wire that costs them more money and takes days to settle. So whatever the solution is, I think people want a solution.
Okay, so would you be buying XRP at 140?
I mean, I don't think it's a bad play. I think, look, before in 2017, this reached like 360. Before,
yeah, but that was 2017 when everything pumped and then crashed.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Like Bitcoin's not pumping harder now than in 2017? Come on.
Well, it is, and XRP hasn't caught up to its all-time high.
Yeah, because of the lawsuits and everything. It's going to. Give it time. There is a huge army out there. There are crypto influencers who have met with Don Jr. that are all on XRP that understand the story behind it and the utility behind it. Give it some time. I'm telling you, it is going to be incredible what happens.
I mean, it is number 6 in the top most valuable cryptos on the planet.
This isn't some little thing. And look, next year, you may see Ripple go IPO also, because they've been saying that they want to wait until the lawsuit is completely over. And now with Gensler leaving the White House and Trump meeting with Brian Armstrong and other people in the crypto industry, you could see Ripple go public. which will be very interesting because then once Ripple goes public, there'll be way more common knowledge and way more publicized. Think about what happened with Palantir after they went public.
Right.
I'm telling you, the next couple of years will be very interesting. There's going to be several winners. I think Bitcoin keeps going up. And I do think that I don't know if it's going to be Cardano or Ethereum, but the whole premise around smart contracts is very interesting. And I do think that keeps everybody honest. It makes things very easy, and it's an easy way to do business. So we'll see if that comes to fruition or not. But cross-border payments, that's a global solution that any global industry or person can use. So when you think about that, there is a lot of potential.
All right, there you go. We got the bull case on XRP. Let's talk about a stock that you are coming around to, which is Nike. What are you seeing in Nike?
Yeah, I actually looked at the numbers today instead of just having my biased view on it.
Okay. Do you think Bill Ackman's got this one right?
He may have this one right.
Okay, why? What'd you find?
It looks undervalued from the numbers. They don't have as much debt as I thought they had. They're trading at 13 or 14 times free cash flow. I mean, you're going to have to look and do the math. But I mean, I think their free cash flow is like 8 billion or so. And it's around 13 or 14 times free cash flow. I think they're trading at 21 or 22 times forward earnings.
That to you is why you're getting excited. So basically it's a valuation thing, you think, and that's why Ackman's getting in as well.
Yeah, they just raised the dividend quite a bit, I think 8%. 11 years of dividend growth. I mean, they keep returning cash to shareholders, limited debt. They have more cash and short-term investments on the books than debt, or I should say long-term debt, not total debt. But yeah, I mean, clean balance sheet, strong cash flow, looks undervalued from earnings and dividend growth. Yeah, this could be something that runs to 110, 120 next year. And here's the other thing. I don't think people will be surprised. It's not hitting at 110, 120. It's not hitting new all-time highs. And I certainly don't think it's going to be a surprise to anybody if it gets back there.
Yeah, I mean, Ackman would not go that deep unless he thought there was something special here, or at least a recovery, that could take place.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about getting in for the recovery and then getting out if it happens. I'm putting a stop loss in at like 68 or something like that.
Okay, I think that is fair. DKK, thank you for the EIK, thank you for the $50 super chat. What is DKK? What is that currency? Let's see, DKK currency. This is Danish krones. All right, I love it. Thank you for the Danish krones. Up 4.5%, or sorry, 45%, because that's a comma, not a dot. Is that a dot? I don't know. But you're up on your account today and just up in general. Thanks to you guys and others. Great way to get the news. So thank you. I think that is 4.5% because you said today. Thank you for being here, sir. Appreciate it. And glad you are enjoying the content. Steve, I got another question for you. Money market funds finally showed an outflow of $22 billion. Do you think people are getting back into the markets?
I don't know. I didn't think it was going to stay this high for this long.
Yeah, I mean, it's still 6.65 trillion, which it's not
crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, that is a lot of money that's there, but we finally saw a decrease. And I think that decrease is good, but the question is it real in terms of that money actually leaving into?
I don't even know if it matters anymore. I mean, you still have all the money in CDs and bonds that could potentially flow in quicker because you actually have a decision you have to make. Like money markets, you don't have to make a decision. It's just sitting there collecting the interest. But when a CD terms, what do you do with the money? You either roll it or invest it. So I don't know. I don't know if it matters at this point anymore.
Okay, let me get your take on regional banks. Stanley Druckenmiller bought 200 million of this in Q3 KRE. Do you think regionals are a winner next year?
Yes.
Why?
I think they go high. Look, easier operating environment. Businesses do better. Businesses tap the debt market. No longer have the overhang from commercial real estate as a threat. I mean, I think they do better earnings expansion, dividend growth.
Yeah, I think regionals are going to do well. TFC, by the way, guys, TFC is at 47.96. This is a stock we've been following for a long time. I don't have any more of it. But Steve, you originally, your articles helped me understand TFC back in 2023.
I still have it.
Oh, you still have some Well, you never sell anything, so
That's right.
All right, so Steve, you and I, we're gonna do this maybe on Saturday if Steve's free. We'll see. But we wanted to develop a dividend portfolio live. So can we talk about that? If someone's trying to develop a dividend portfolio, what are the central components that you think are necessary to make it a good portfolio?
Go read my Thursday morning article.
Okay, so for the people that are not going to read your Thursday morning, for the people that are not reading that shit, what are like 2 or 3 things that we need to care about?
You have to admit, the amount of charts and graphs and data that I put in there is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you have a very unique way of communicating, and you do have a lot of good graphs, which is good. But like, are we looking at 30 stocks? Are we looking at?
It depends what the plan is. Everybody's unique. I mean, I have my own. Look, when I invest for income, I do not care about capital appreciation. My 2 goals are risk mitigation and reoccurring income. Capital appreciation is a secondary goal. You can't do both. Okay. So I look at it as I want to build a proxy for cash through investments, and in a tough market, I want that capital spread out in several different areas. That way, it mitigates my downside, and if 1 or 2 sectors are really getting crushed, other sectors either slow the bleeding or even stop the bleeding. So that's how I look at it from building that. I want stuff in all different sectors, whether it's ETFs. I mean, look, I have a combination of everything: closed-end funds, ETFs, REITs, business development corporations, and individual equities.
And you have a lot of these covered call ETFs as well, right? Like QQQI. I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, some of these companies have come out with some great products that I really like. So there are a section of the overall portfolios, definitely. But it's not just them, it's other types of dividend ETFs too, and also specialized things like UTG or AMLP. Look, AMLP is a pipeline ETF that you do not get a Schedule K1 with, and it gives you 18 different pipeline companies. I think it's 7.5% dividend.
So what is your conversation, or what is your perspective on the debate that people have, which is dividends are literally wasting time because you need growth and capital appreciation to make real money?
Well, I mean, it's all perspective and where you are in life and what your goals are. I mean, some people only look at growth, put on the gas pedal. Some people do a hybrid. Some people want that income. I mean, nobody's wrong. But I mean, look, my theory is if you're putting into a retirement account and you're 100% invested in the S&P and you're putting in that every 2 weeks, do you really want to keep buying that outside of a retirement account? Or do you want to diversify into other things? My idea is, look, all the money that I'm putting into my retirement account, my wife's retirement account, that's a fail-safe. That's going to be there. And if I screw up, I screw up with the other stuff. And if I don't, I'm hoping I never have to touch that stuff. But outside of that, I want a growth portfolio. I want an income-producing portfolio. And I want some speculative stuff. And I want some other stuff. So the idea for me is that by the time I retire, I have these dividend assets producing enough income where it's paying for all my bills. That way, anything I want to do with the other money, I can do. And I don't think people look at it as, oh, you're not really making a lot in capital appreciation. But if you have something that is paying 3 to 8% on a dividend and giving you dividend growth, and you're reinvesting that and compounding that over 20, 30 years, the numbers start to look much different.
Yeah, I really think it's a question of, do you want capital appreciation or do you want steady income?
And you can have both. You can buy, just because you have a dividend portfolio, it doesn't mean that you don't own NVDA, Palantir, and those things. But you can do both. You don't have to one ring to rule them all.
Right. That's fair. Can we talk about Snowflake? You said last Friday the cube might have stopped melting. It was.
I should have wrote an article about it. That way, it was like documented, other than our text messages.
Yeah, because it was up 30%, and you would have looked pretty smart if you had that article right before earnings.
Right. I was calling it though.
Do you think this is well? So I know why you didn't buy Snowflake.
Why?
Because the Palantir in your blood didn't let you do it.
No, I got
No,
lazy.
that's the reason, dude. You were bullish, but you're not bullish enough to pull the trigger because you got Palantir in your blood.
Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't really read through the quarter yet. It's on my things to read this weekend. I don't know. I just thought that there was a good chance of it going up because of the metrics and the trajectory it was on. It looked like I was right. So we'll see what happens. I got to go through the quarter. I didn't read it yet.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, they re-accelerated revenues. They were oversold. So it kind of makes sense why we saw
Hey, type in 2 letters and hit enter. M-O.
Ah, that one's not doing bad. Altria Group. Look at that.
What's that?
56.73.
Interesting.
Yeah, cigarettes are profitable.
You could have got in at 41 when I told you, and you could have got your yield on cost would have been like 11% at that point. It's still yielding 7.5%.
No, it's one of those ones next year that I want to look into deeply for the dividends. It's a good one. This one and SLG are just like superstars this year. Absolute superstars. SLG is looking at almost $80. It was at 82.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
A while ago.
And there's a couple other ones. Like I think Enbridge is still going to go up. I'd like to see a retracement back to 38 before I buy more, but Enbridge is the most complete energy infrastructure company in the market, and I have no problem saying that. They're the only one that owns the amount of pipeline assets that they do. I think it's something like 80,000 miles or something like that between natural gas, crude, and refined products. But they also own several utility companies, 3 utility companies / power plants in the U.S. and the largest utility company in Canada, and they are actually now the largest combined utility company in North America. They also have a pretty large renewable portfolio. So they're the most complete energy company there is right now, especially with their exporting capabilities. So I think that this thing's going to keep going. And it's got a dividend that's growing for 28 years.
What do you think about Estee Lauder?
I don't know much about them.
But do you think there's any value at all? Or just don't know anything about them?
I shouldn't really speak about it. I haven't done much research on them.
Yeah, this one got hit this year. I think it's down 50%. That's why people are curious about it. Yeah, 51%.
Do you know why?
They have a lot of China exposure, and on earnings, they said China's not doing well. They reduced guidance for fiscal year 2025, like a bunch of things. So they're just not growing as much as before. Steve, Bitcoin's at 99,459.
No, I know. I saw it when I left.
Are we going to party when we get to 100?
Sure.
Are you going to care at all when we get to 100?
No. Same way I didn't care when Tanner asked me if he could bring Vlad out. I said no.
Yeah, that was weird, bro. So me, Tanner, and Roy are going to go to the Robinhood Investor Day. And I think we're going to meet you. We're going to do lunch or breakfast or whatever.
Yeah, we're going to try to do something.
We'll try to do something. Vlad's not going to be there, but Tanner mentioned, like, not at the dinner that we're at, but but Tanner said, what if he got Vlad to come, or what if Vlad came, which I don't think is going to happen because I don't think he's going to be spending a couple hours with us, like in a breakfast. But if he did, you said you wouldn't care.
No, it does nothing for me.
Which is very weird because this guy is a billionaire, built a company that changed the world.
Don't care.
I don't understand how you can't care about that.
I want to hang out with you guys. I could care less.
No, I want to hang out with you too, but you wouldn't feel a little bit of like, oh, this is really cool. We get to hang out with like Vlad. Like that's not.
No, not at all.
What if it was Brad Garlinghouse?
No, not really.
You are such a capper, bro. You're capping. You're capping. Like if a celebrity or anyone of big like, what if it's Bill Ackman? You're not going to feel anything?
I mean, I would like to have a conversation with Ackman.
Dude, Steve, it's okay to be excited about people, you know, like what if it was Jensen Huang? You wouldn't be a little excited?
No.
Okay, you're lying.
I'm really not. Certain people, yes. Certain people, no. Don't really care.
Okay, who counts as like someone that makes you like, oh, that's a big dinner?
No, I would love to sit down and have a conversation with Noto. to understand the whole freaking business banking thing. You know, there's
What about
certain
Carp? What if it was Carp? What if it was Carp?
definitely, yeah, Carp definitely. Love to see.
Hold on. So Carp and Noto on your list but Vlad isn't. I
Yeah,
feel
100%.
I feel like someone didn't buy Robinhood at $8.
No,
Hold on, let me
because
finish. Let me get this off my chest. Let me get
Sure.
this off
Have
my
fun.
chest. I
Have fun.
feel like someone didn't buy Robinhood at $8 when someone told them to buy Robinhood at $8, but they bought Palantir and Sofi. And now, conveniently, the CEO of that company that they didn't buy is off the like celebrity list of people that you actually want to talk to for some reason.
Because there's nothing I would like to talk to Vlad about. Think about it. If you had said Zuckerberg, I would say no. Been a shareholder of Meta since the IPO. I mean, I would love to have a conversation with Karp about where he sees defense in critical areas and how he is going to, or how Palantir software is going to be implemented into the U.S. military. I'd love to have a better understanding of that because I love the mission, and that's one of the reasons I will always be a shareholder, even if at some point I take profits, because of the mission with the military. No other reason why.
But Steve, you've been in the markets for decades now. Vlad has revolutionized the markets for my generation. How is there not? Oh, you've got to be kidding. Now we can see the real Steve. Next time, make sure there's a little bit more salt on your steak, all right? Because we feel the salt right here. Like this.
No, I mean,
did you just say has Vlad? Are you implying he didn't revolutionize trading?
Has he?
How has he not?
I mean, I still think that it's crazy people aren't using interactive brokers.
Because, dude, my uncle had in India. I thought I was looking at something from 1927. Like that's why people don't like. come on, Steve, bro. We can't be this bearish on Hood when they've changed the game.
It's just not interesting. You know, there's certain people I'd rather have a conversation with Sachs.
I would love to have a conversation with Sachs, but I would also love to have a conversation with Vlad. I mean, I wouldn't be here without Robinhood. I wouldn't be here.
No, I doubt that you'd still be here.
No, I do, dude. I don't think I would have got into investing without a user-friendly platform.
I doubt that.
You don't. You're not thinking enough about the butterfly effect.
I am. I remember the days when you had to call Quick and Riley on the phone. There was no such thing as an app on your phone because cell phones weren't a thing, weren't even created yet. So I look at it much differently. Like, to me, it doesn't matter.
No, my point is, I don't think I would be a finance personality, anything, because I wouldn't have set up a Schwab or Fidelity account because it was so complicated. Like, you
don't know that.
No, I do. Like, there's a world in which you just like we get into things for the craziest reasons in life, right? Like, I don't know if I would have gone onto the debate team unless, for me, I just wasn't getting as tall, right? So basketball wasn't an option. So then I went back to debate. Like, all these little random things happen. If I never set up a Robinhood account because it took 5 seconds to set it up and put some money in, I don't know if I would have started investing as seriously as I am right now. I'm not even stretching that to make the point. I'm like legit saying that platform changed the way we think about retail trading.
Okay.
And I think there's a hell of a conversation to have with Vlad about
that. Great.
Okay, what else do we talk about? We talked about pretty much everything. Oh, Netflix. Does Netflix deserve to be $899 right now?
I don't know.
This is kind of ridiculous.
It's past ridiculous, but people love it. I mean, I don't know. I still don't understand why consolidation isn't happening and why nobody is buying certain companies, Warner Brothers, Paramount. I mean, it's crazy.
Who do you want to buy Warner Brothers?
And so you got to think Amazon purchased, who they purchased? Lionsgate. They took Lionsgate off the market.
Yeah.
You've got to think that there's going to be at some point more consolidation because content is king. And strategically taking Warner Brothers Discovery off the market, you could do it for so cheap and take those stations off of network TV and put them only in your service. You could put all that content library just in your service. I mean, have HBO still on as a premium subscription. I mean, it would make any of these companies, their content so much better. I think Apple should buy them because Apple TV needs it.
What do you think's happening with Apple right now? Stock's been kind of flat, but it's holding its multiple. A report from Bloomberg came out yesterday saying that in 2026 they plan to overhaul Siri, which I was really confused about because I thought that was happening in 2025. But any bullish or bearish thoughts about him currently right now?
I mean, I'm still bullish on them. I don't know how you don't be bullish on Apple. Same thing. Every year, everybody's like, "Oh, Apple's dead. Apple's dead." Well, no, they keep printing 110, 105 billion free cash flow and buying back shares and growing the dividend. And they have one of the largest cults in the world for a company. So hard to be bearish on them.
Thoughts on Elf at all?
I like the industry. I just don't follow any of the companies.
Yeah, they got shorted the other day, but the street's not really reacting to it. Target has a 3% dividend and is down 20%. Do we need to look at that a little bit more?
Yeah, Target's been interesting. I think it's very interesting. I haven't followed in a couple of months, but I think it's interesting.
I don't think Target's going anywhere. Like, it's going to be around for a long time, right? So I feel like 20% down is pretty juicy in my opinion, especially off a missed sales estimate. Now, I think the tariffs might affect them a little bit more than Walmart to an extent. But
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I definitely think there's something to look at there. All right. I think that's pretty much it today, Steve. Thank you for joining once again. I'm going to put your new Seeking Alpha article in the chat. Anything you're doing over the weekend?
Yeah, just writing. I mean, it'd be interesting if people from the chat are...
Oh, we lost him. We lost him, folks. He doesn't like Rocket Lab, guys. There's nothing to ask for that. He's just doesn't care about Rocket Lab.
On to all of them.
Oh, there you are. Hold on, there he is. We lost you for a second. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it would be interesting if everybody puts comments in the article. I'll respond to all of them.
Okay, I'm going to make a comment right now. I'm going to say, Steve, thank you for your analysis. I look forward to reading every one of your articles.
Okay. I will respond at some point tonight.
All right. Everyone check out his article. Steve, appreciate it every time. Everyone loves you. And we'll see you next week.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Later.
All right, folks. That's it. We're done. It's a Friday. Where is Bitcoin? Oh, man. It wants to get to 100, dude. It wants 99.5, back at 99.1. I was scared last night because I went to sleep, I think, at 12. And I was like, man, by the time I wake up, and then I woke up and I was like rushing to see, did we actually hit 100? And we didn't. I kind of want to be awake when it gets to 100. But I don't know. You never, maybe it happens at 2, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. You never know. It is going to be interesting to see. For some exchanges across the world, they've seen 100 already, like in different currencies and stuff. But like the actual Bitcoin in US dollars has not seen 100. And so that's what we're looking for right now. It got over 99 last night. Yeah, I think it got to 99.5. It got to 99.7 during the day today. And right now we're here at 99,143. It's going to be exciting when it happens, dude. It's going to be so exciting when it happens. Now, it's going to be kind of one of those moments where it's like, all right, is that it? Right? And then it just goes away. Or is it going to be, oh, we're at 100 and we're not stopping and we're going further? Because it's like a stock, right? Like when Palantir, when we got through 30 at $29.99, we were there for like an hour. Do you guys remember that? That was back in September. That was August, I think, after earnings. And, you know, once we got through 30, it's like, all right, we're done. 30 is normal. And I think now a lot of people would be killing to pay 30 for Palantir, right? Things just fundamentally change. When we get past 100, is it, all right, like 101, 102, 103? Are we just moving on? Or is it like, all right, we did it. We're done. It's fun. We're going away. It's going to be really, really interesting to kind of see how the market reacts and if that sell order at 100 ever goes away or if it just piles up over the weekend and goes even further. Cardano's at $1. All right, so we got some other cryptos moving right now. Cardano, yeah, it's at 99 cents. There you go, up 45% the past week as well. Cardano, $34 billion market cap. That one, I know a couple of people that have been in that one for a while, so that one's doing good. Solana as well broke out. Solana 257. Robinhood just relisted Solana, so I think that's really bullish for them. but you do have Solana, I think, hit 265 yesterday, breaking its all-time highs. Amit would have obsessed in 1999 before Y2K. I haven't watched too many documentaries on Y2K. My only understanding of it is that all the computers like were going to collapse because once the clock hits 2000, like the computers were going to spaz out because they didn't know how to like showcase that, and that's why people thought everything was going to collapse. But I've never gone that deep into Y2K. Maybe tonight. I have a day off for the first time in like 10 weeks because we're not doing Palantir Weekly. Because usually on Fridays after the market close, it's like 4 hours later, boom, we're into another stream, and that stream lasts until like 1:30 in my time in night. So I actually have a Friday night off. Maybe we go deep on Y2K and why that's happening. Are you thinking of buying XRP? No, I'm not buying XRP. I appreciate the bull cash by Steve, but I just don't care enough about it to keep up with it, dude. I really don't. So very cool. I think his thesis is sound. I don't really believe in all these alternative payments when it comes to crypto. Like I would have to really, really believe that international transfers, people want to do it. But yeah, I'm not buying it based on that. I'd buy it if I think I can sell it at a much higher price, right? But like as a long-term thesis, I wouldn't be buying XRP. I personally wouldn't do it. But I think the thesis is sound. And there's an argument there. Amit, what do you think about Grab? I am bullish Grab. I like it. I want it at 450. That would be better. RDW. I don't know what that is. What's RDW? Bitcoin is at 99.2. RDW, Redwire Corporation. This is $1 million stock, bro. No, it's $876 million. I was like, how is that $1 million stock? Can you go public if you're worth $1 million? Can you IPO at $1 million? I guess theoretically you kind of can, but I don't know about this one. I'll look it up over the weekend. I'll put that on the list. RDW, Redwire Corporation. I don't have any Avalanche. I've heard about this ticker. I have a lot of friends who like it, but I do not have any Avalanche. Well, Robin to do the 3% transfer promotion again. First of all, shout out to my boy Carlos. I'll be on Finance Junkies on Sunday, 5 p.m., 2 p.m. Pacific. So we will be talking all about the crypto world. I don't think Robin is doing that transfer promotion again. And the reason I don't think they're doing it again is because they've maxed out, in my opinion, the amount of money they could give out to people. And now they have amortized about $250 million over the next couple of years. And they said they're already getting rid of their 1% deposit match in gold. So, I mean, maybe they do it again. I just think maybe Hood Week next time for the Hood Summit. But there's a decent chunk of money that they have to basically cut off from their revenue for like the next 8 quarters because they've given away so much money. Now they're going to make that money back, but I don't think they're in a hurry to like give a lot more free money anytime soon. So I don't think they're going to do that. They might next year, but the experiment has worked with the matches. They've given a lot of it out and it's paid off a lot, but now they actually have to make the money back. And so you can't keep giving out too much money if the other stuff isn't paying itself back yet. So maybe in a year after they paid back the 2024 matches, they might bring that back again. But I think it works really well and it has been effective for them. Carlos has all of his stocks on Robinhood now and he's enjoying it. So yeah, if you can get even more stocks on Robinhood with that match 1, 2, or 3%, that is not bad at all. Davis says, do you think you're cool using big words, Mitt? All right, amortize is not a big word, but I know that you thought when I said amortize, it was a big word, but it's not a big word. That is just basic financial vocabulary, even though it kind of feels like a big word. I'm not going to lie. When will you own one Bitcoin? Chris Patel went bullish before you. So I think this is the wrong paradigm, Steven, to think about it. I think owning one Bitcoin to become quote unquote bullish on Bitcoin is a little elementary in terms of thinking of like how someone can be bullish Bitcoin. Bitcoin has done very well for me this year without having to own Bitcoin because there's other ways to get leverage against the asset class that is Bitcoin. And for me, that was Robinhood, right? And so, yeah, I don't think I need to own one Bitcoin to be bullish Bitcoin. Now, next year, I do want to start DCAing into IBIT. That is, part of the monthly DCA that I want to start doing. But it's because I'll have some more capital to do that, right? Like this year wasn't a year to diversify and protect. This year was a year to consolidate and do more. Also, I think there's like a false premise, dude. Like Bitcoin's at 100,000. Bitcoin was at, let's call it 30,000 last year. Given some of the derivatives that I've done, I've outperformed that 3x on Bitcoin, right? So I mean, I said this a couple of weeks ago. I have zero FOMO about Tesla running up or Bitcoin. Would I love to own more of that? Of course, but like I don't have billions and millions of dollars where I can allocate to a ton of stuff. This is like real life shit, right? You can allocate to, you have to make some big bets. You hope those big bets really work. You study the shit out of those bets, aka Palantir and Hood for me this year. And you could potentially really outperform everything else, even if those asset classes do well, especially if you're using leverage with options. And so, for me, that's what's happened this year. And there's really not any FOMO not having Bitcoin, especially when Robinhood's stock is moving a lot on Bitcoin. Now, there's a lot of other reasons why it's moving, but if Bitcoin's one of the reasons it's moving, and I don't own Bitcoin, but I own options against something that's moving, that's leveraged way better as a business that doesn't need Bitcoin to survive, but it has a catalyst of Bitcoin, like that to me is just like, it's an amazing situation to be in. And so that's kind of how I played it out this year. If Bitcoin goes to 14 million by 2045, will Hood go to 2,000 by that time? So I don't think Robin is going to be $2,000 a share by 2045. Maybe. I think that's going to be tough to imagine. I don't know if Bitcoin's going to be 14 million by 2045. I mean, you've really got to believe Saylor on that thesis. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't, right? And right now, odds are saying in my head that it won't be 14 million. Will it be higher than 100,000? Probably. Could it be 14 million? Yeah, I'm not even trying to poo-poo that idea because I legitimately think there's a shot for that. But I'm not going to, only make my investment thesis based on it going to 14 million. But I think, there's a chance that could happen. Buying a Bitcoin instead of a house when you're ready may be the better play, to be honest. See, this I agree with. And we talked about this with Robert Kiyosaki, what he said. Would you rather buy your kid 2 Bitcoin or save them $200,000 for their college? I legit think there's an argument. You pay 2 Bitcoin right now, and in 18 years, that 200,000 hopefully is much more than 200,000, which I would imagine it is in 2 decades. And, that can pay for college and pay for a lot more. So that I agree with. But I think when you have limited capital, not being in one of the plays that does well because you have a different play that is doing well, there's no sense of FOMO from that perspective, like as long as you're doing decent, that's ultimately what matters. Doge is up 7% right now. Yeah, Doge is doing good. Where is Bitcoin? 99.1. I don't know, dude. Weekend liquidity is not the best, so I don't know if we get to 100 this weekend, but it definitely looks like it's just chilling at 99, and it wants to get there. Presumably better risk appreciation with no counterparty risks or risk associated with owning a home. Yeah, we're going to talk about this on Finance Junkies on Sunday. This idea that Saylor has brought up around counterparty risk is a really interesting thesis. Carlos was talking about it a couple of days ago with me, and so we will discuss that as well. JJ says, Amid, have you ever shared your portfolio? So this is one thing I wanted to talk about. I was talking about this with Adam the other day. And it's something kind of important to discuss. I was actually talking about this with Carlos the other day as well. I think I will create a YouTube portfolio that we can look at every day on hopefully Robinhood. I just need to get a different account, or maybe M1 Finance, something to like trade with every day. I am very uncomfortable personally showing my personal net worth and portfolio on the internet. Like 2 years ago, I think I would have done it with no issue, but things have changed. And I love TJ. He's super transparent. That's awesome. But I share so much of my life publicly, just like being on YouTube. I kind of want to keep my personal net worth like private, keep that like to myself. I was talking with Adam about this when we were getting dinner, and Adam was like, yeah, dude, I like, because Adam used to do YouTube. He doesn't do YouTube anymore, but Adam's made good money this year. Like very good money, right? Like we're talking about, I don't even want to say the number, but he's made good money. He was in MicroStrategy calls. That's all I'm going to say. And so the idea of him actually showing his portfolio on a screen and people can see how much he's worth in terms of he was just like, dude, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. He was like, I can't show that to people. Now, TJ is a different breed, right? TJ is doing it with $11 million, whatever. He's like, TJ is a different breed. I respect him for that, all that stuff. The more you accumulate, quite frankly, you don't want to show everyone how much money you have. Like, it's just not, it's not one of those things that like you don't want to brag about it. B, you don't want people knowing exactly how much money you have. C, there's a lot of freaking weird people in the world and you never know what could happen. D, you don't want everyone judging every little move you're making in your portfolio doing something like that, because it's just like a lot of judgment already coming onto you as like a personal creator, a personal public, personality. So I think that's kind of my reason. Now I'm also sympathetic to the idea of, hey, like, we want to know some of your plays and what you're doing and all this stuff. And that's why I think the public portfolio, even if we put like 100 grand in it, that is basically going to mimic what I'm doing with my actual portfolio. And so I think that's the way to resolve that situation. But just like showing your net worth, dude, it's tough. Cause like, I don't know, the more it grows, the more you don't want to do it. It's one of those things where the more you grow in life, the less you feel the need to show it. You know, I think a lot of people in the chat who've had money throughout their life, they can relate to this. And I know a lot of you guys would respect that, because I think a lot of you, like, how many of you want to show exactly how much money you have to the world, right? How many people want to show off their net worth to the world? It's like every single day seeing all the ups and downs and swings of your net worth. Like it's just like scary to have that out there, you know? And so, as Davis says, it's a grower, not a shower. Copying Joseph style. Yeah, so that 700K portfolio, is that Joseph's? No, there's no way that's his net worth. Yeah, that's a YouTube portfolio. Probably not his literal net worth. Dude, Joseph's probably making, I think he has what, like 10,000 Patreon members. He's probably, yeah, I'm sure that's not his actual net worth. He's probably making much more than that 700K. But yeah, it's one of those, it's not even trying to like brag or anything. Like, it's just literally, I was thinking about it the other day, because I always thought, all right, I'll show my portfolio. But then like portfolio started moving and I'm like, do I really want to just show this to the entire world and have everyone see exactly how much I'm worth? Like, it just sounds like terrifying the more and more you think about it, you know? So Carlos says 100% agreement. There will be signs. Yeah, dude. It's just like, that red wave made me really not want to show my portfolio, dude. It's like, I mean, I'll say this today. My portfolio right now today is at an all-time high as I'm looking at it, you know? And when I see this, I'm just like, I don't want to show this to everybody. This is one of those things you don't want to show. And it's like, we got to find a way to remedy that, because I definitely want to make trades live and everyone can see that, but not on like the actual main portfolio itself. So I think that's fair. I think people respect it. But it's important to kind of imagine it in a way that keeps it respectful and keeps it, your own personal net worth and your safety there, but also is good for content. So from a content perspective, I think we should start a public portfolio. I don't know if I'm able to make a second Robinhood account. That's the problem. Like, I'm trying to figure out, can I make a second Robinhood account? Because then I'll put 100 grand in there and then we'll just trade the 100 grand every day. And that'll be something fun with the chat. We'll get to see that 100 grand grow, hopefully, if I don't fuck it up. And we can do suggestions from the chat, all this stuff, like at like 10:30 every day. We can open up the public portfolio, see what's moving, take some, degen bets, do some safe stuff. But I need to figure out if I can do it on Robinhood, because I really don't want to open up like another brokerage and do it there, because like it would just look prettier on Robinhood and doing it as well. So I think that's important. Rob says, what is the value of portfolio? Is a security question for most brokerage accounts. Yeah. It's one of those things, dude, where you just, it's like, and look, I'm not the richest guy in the world or anything. This has been a really good year for me personally, but I'm not, multiple 7-8 figures or any crazy thing like that. Like, we're not talking about that type of money. It's just in general, as you grow as a human being and have so much of your life out there publicly. As the same thing I said when I get a girlfriend. I don't know if I want to show her on the show, right? Because it's one thing for me to be able to take, like, yes, on the freaking NVIDIA stream, right, where we had 12,000 people, we had a bunch of new people join. And so there's this one person who joined and they're like, why is this guy's glasses so ugly? Like, it's just like random shit, right? And I see that and I even pressed the comment on the screen. I started laughing at it, right? Because I can take those punches. But like, do I want like my girlfriend to deal with that one day? Like, no, dude. Like, it's just like, you got to be able to be a creator and deal with it. There's some parts of your life you just don't want the world to know. So I think it's important to kind of navigate. The vegan leather is the first. No, the Tesla is not a sign that I've been doing well in the markets. I think the Tesla is just fucking smart, bro. 0% APR, 15,000 down payment with the trade-in, and $9,500 off with EV credits. Like, that to me was smart. I would have done that even if my portfolio was whatever this year, was average this year, because you get to upgrade for a very cheap, you get to go from a Civic to a Model Y for less than $500 a month. Like, I think that was just smart. So that wasn't a sign. Now, granted, given the portfolio's been doing good this year, it definitely makes you feel a little bit more safer to pay that extra $500 a month without having to worry about, making that payment. So I'll give you that. But I feel like that was just in general a good decision. And we got some vegan leather out of that, which is important. Amit, do 100K to 1 million content. Yeah, I think we do that. That'll be fun over the course of 10 years. Screw Tinder. Amit's going to use Foundry to find his wife. Dude, if they make Foundry for dating, I'm all in. I'm on it. So I am thinking of moving out, though. So let me pose this idea to you guys, because I've been warming up to it with my parents as well. I'm thinking of moving out and I'm thinking of moving out to apartments in New Jersey that are a little bit more, like, I don't know what you want to call them. They're like really nice apartments, I guess you could say. And I'm thinking of doing that by the summer of 2025, not owning a house, like not like putting a down payment on a house. Cause I was doing the math next year, and God willing, everything goes well in 2024. We get into 2025. I will make more money with my money in the markets versus taking off 130, 140,000 out for a down payment, which I like from everything I looked at, I will have to take out at least 125,000 out for a down payment. And that 125 is going to do way better compounding in the markets, especially if I'm able to wheel it in the way that I want to wheel it and all that stuff. So I'm thinking of renting. Now, the good thing about renting is that because I'm a business and because I'm operating my business through that studio, theoretically, studio apartment, whatever, that is also a tax write-off. So yeah, like, so you can own it for a tax break, or you can use the rent from the studio. I was talking to the accountant the other day, and he was like, yeah, if your business is YouTube and you make content through having a studio, right? Like, you need a place to live to make the content. You're 28 years old. At the time, I'll be 27 and a half. That is a very justifiable way to say, all right, this person's business is growing. You have to show business growth to the IRS and all this stuff, but you can easily justify your business is growing because you have a studio. That studio is where you work from, where you do business from. And even if you can't write off 100% of it, which the accountant that I talked to says you're going to be able to write off a decent amount of it in your taxes, you can at least get 50 to 75%. So there's different arguments that it has to go back and forth. Again, trying to think about it from different ways, but I think from a tax perspective, it's more beneficial to rent. And I do want to buy, but I think I want to save up more money over the next 2 years. I do not want to put the down payment. Also, not with this freaking 7% interest rate, dude. Not with 7% interest rates. Like, we got to get interest rates back down to 4.5%, which I think will happen hopefully by 2027. Then I think I'll have enough money saved to really put a nice down payment at a 4.5% interest rate. And then I can own my first property. But I really did the math, bro. And it's like, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to buy a house, not with these interest rates and not with the current amount of capital I have. It makes a lot more sense to let that money compound. Like, if I can get even 2% a month on that 125, which is 24% a year, and that's, being conservative, but let's just be really conservative. Even 1.5% a month, that's 18% a year. Your house is not appreciating 18% a year. Now, you are generating more equity in the house. That's a fair argument. But then you've got property taxes on it. Like my dad, he has a rental property that he flat out owns. They just raised the taxes from $6,000 to $14,000, bro. And he was complaining last night. He was like, "Why the fuck did they raise it by $8,000? Like, what is going on?" So you got property taxes. You got to maintain the damn thing. You got to make sure you keep up with it. You got to find other people to rent it out to if it's a multifamily thing, or if there's extra rooms that you want to get some income from. And it's just not generating me anything outside of long-term equity in the ownership of the house. And at these interest rates, I just feel like it's not worth it. I can't find the math to make sense. Like, me and my dad last Friday, we were going through all the math together. Even my dad, who is super anti-renting, he was like, it doesn't make any sense to buy this house. And my dad, I thought he was going to be super against it, but when we looked at the numbers, he was like, yeah, if you can get a better return in the markets. Now, that's contingent upon actually getting that return in the market. So that's kind of betting on myself that I'm able to navigate the turbulence of the markets to be able to keep that $125,000 or whatever, and that $5,000 mortgage payment continuously generating a better return. But still, if you assume even conservatively 1.5%, it's better. So that's what I think I'm going to be doing in 2025. That's the goal. That is the goal. And it's going to be a lot more exciting to kind of move out, have my own studio, and do my own thing. 1317 was RDW. That's what I was looking at. Someone suggested in the chat RDW. That's what we're looking at 1317. Bitcoin right here at 99,000. You can buy a house with 3% down. That is correct. However, that monthly payment becomes pretty damn expensive, especially with 7% mortgage rates. Like, dude, mortgage rates have to come down. And my fear is that by the end of 2025, there is not going to be 4.5% interest rates. Like, unless we cut dramatically, which we're not cutting dramatically because we still have inflation that's a concern, mortgage rates are going to be at least 5.5% to 6% by the end of the year. And I don't know what that's going to mean for the broader market or for the housing market, but it definitely does not make it super attractive unless we get this massive supply inventory surplus, which I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe Trump deregulates all the regulations on building houses and we just unleash a crazy amount of supply. Then maybe the things change. But if we're doing 6 to 7% mortgage rates, I don't think it makes sense. At least not right now. Rob says, I own 2 rental properties and after 7 years, I've broken even on them. Yeah, see, it takes time. It takes time. Rob, thank you for the super chat. It takes time to break even on rental properties. And I'm sure the cash flow from the rental properties was nice to have, Rob. But if it's about cash flow and the cash flow is coming to me from the markets, especially via selling options, dividends, a lot of different things you can use, then it's just not that effective. Even Adam's made a lot of money this year in the markets. He owns a bunch of properties. He's selling all of them to just put more money into wheeling, because now when you know how to wheel and you have, like, if you have 300 grand that you're even playing with, right? Just like on a weekly trade, and you can make 1 or 2% on that over a week, over 2 weeks, over 3 weeks, over 6 weeks, that 300 grand giving you 2% is way better than it being stuck in some house where you got to check on all the time. And he's owned real estate for 20 years. And he discovered wheeling 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago. And it's changed his life. And he's just like, dude, it's like, I don't know why I have these fucking properties with all my money stashed up in them. When the only payment I can get one day is selling them versus having that money in the markets and potentially being able to navigate a better return. So that's kind of the thought process there. And that's what we're doing. Tiago says, I just bought my house to sleep better knowing my family would have something in case I'm not around. Well, so that's another thing. I don't have a family yet, right? So if you have a family, I think it's a different question. If you have kids, all that stuff. Adam has kids, but he already has a property that he's paid off that his family's living in. If I had kids, it'd be a different situation. But I don't have kids yet. And I think over the next 2-3 years, Dogecoin above 42 cents, when I'm getting more serious about a relationship and then kids, that's when I'll worry about getting a house. I just feel like at 27 to 29, next 2 years, it's just not the most prudent thing that I want to focus on. Now, some of these apartments are looking pretty damn nice. Let's just say that. Some of these apartments are looking pretty nice. And they're like, dude, they're really nice. And it's just like, it would be really cool to live in these places. And, given what the income looks like next year, from the numbers I'm running, God willing, if that actually plays out in the way I'm thinking of it, it's not the biggest expense. There's a tax benefit to it. And it would be a really nice situation to have in terms of living. So that would be cool. Now, again, this also depends on, do we have a continued bull market? I'm not expecting a bull market in 2025 the way we had in 2024. I am like, the reason I'm talking about dividends and all this stuff now is because I'm trying to de-risk in 2025. I really don't know, bro. I mean, maybe we get like another compounding year of just amazing market activity and sentiment. And, Palantir goes to 200 billion and NVDA goes to 6 trillion. And it's a crazy, crazy year again. I don't think anyone expected 2024 to be that year. Like, no one expected that to happen outside like Tom Lee and Dan Ives. And then it happened. And no one's expecting that kind of in 2025. The street's kind of, 6,500, 11%, 3%, 4% growth in the S&P. They're not really expecting a ton of growth. But if 2025 starts surprising to the upside, then I think for option sellers, it's also going to be a good year. But even if it's a basic year for option sellers, that's still good, because if we have a flat market, that's kind of what option sellers like, right? And so if you're selling puts on something and the market's relatively flat, you can handle some of the volatility to the upside or the downside, but you should be able to generate 2 to 3% off a big base, if you have a big base, per month, even in a relatively neutral market. Now, if it's a straight up bear market, then yeah, things are going to get, if we have a recession, then maybe I don't move out, right? Or if we have a recession, maybe I protect any of the gains I have and I think about legitimately getting a property, because theoretically house prices should go down and it makes no sense to rent if we have a crazy recession. I think it all depends on the market, but as of now, what I'm seeing in 2025, I think there's an argument to rent and have the rest of the money compounding. Where's Bitcoin? Bitcoin 98.9. All right, Bitcoin's down just a little bit right now. Amanda, thank you for the $5 super chat. So once Bitcoin breaks 100K, do you see a bigger pump, or do you think we could see a breakout retest back to 75K? Thoughts on your outlook? So I asked the chat. You guys said a bigger pump. I think it's a bigger pump. Every day on this show, we have been talking about the catalysts. I'm not going to relist all the catalysts right now because it would take too long, but there is a lot of catalysts, like just a ton of them, that to me are compounding us to get to 100K. Like at 100K, you would need everyone to simultaneously agree, oh, this is it. It's been a fun ride. See you later. I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's going to be more excitement, more momentum, more retail coming in, more institutionalization, more ETF inflows, more governments getting involved, more companies getting involved, more MicroStrategy mini operations going around across the world. I mean, people are not loaning Saylor debt to the tune of 10 billion for 0% interest if they don't think this is going to work. And dude, the thing we found out today, that German insurance company that all of you guys knew about that I did not even know was a thing, Allianz, the fact that they bought up 25% of the convertible note, it's like, what? Like there are really big players getting involved here. I think the supply of Bitcoin and the coins are coming off exchanges. That is creating a demand supply shock. And I think after 100K, we continue to show momentum. Those are my thoughts on it. So 100K could be the new floor. I mean, maybe it depends. You know, we're going to need some wild swings above 100K for 100K to be the new floor. I don't know what the floor is. I don't even know if 90 is the new floor right now. I mean, we've been showing strength above 90, but I don't really know if that's the new floor. We're going to have to see how the market interprets 100K Bitcoin, how many buyers really step in, and then if they continue to buy above that level. And this is crazy for me to say, right? Because I never thought Bitcoin would get to 100K. So it is insane for me to even think that 100K could be the floor when 2 years ago I was like, 100K, that's never going to happen. I was wrong. And so it's one of those things that it definitely humbled a lot of people. But I do think now that momentum and the education of what Bitcoin is as a paradigmatic shift is changing. And that's getting a lot of people more excited about Bitcoin. Oh, here's another reason I don't want to buy a house. The private investment I made in Figure, from my understanding, is doing very well. Like really well. And again, I invested at 2 billion. I can't say the exact number but from what I'm thinking and from what I've heard, Figure is worth a lot more than 2 billion. And it's not officially on paper yet. You know, next year they're going to have to literally like say that they're you know, this like say what a new valuation is. But from my understanding, Figure is going to be worth more than 2 billion next year on paper, like actually when they like raise more money, if they raise more money or however they do it. And if that's another one of those things, I'm just so grateful for Derek for getting me into that one, because it's one of those arguments where it's like, all right, so this is one of those things that's like you invested theoretically you got the bottom, right? And if you got the bottom and the robotics TAM is massive, and this startup right here is not worth as much as Tesla yet, but it's worth a lot more than 2 billion. This is why people are like, oh, why don't you take the 25,000 and put it into Tesla stock at 200? It's like, yeah, Tesla's done well from 200 or 240 or whatever it was at the time. But Figure was 2 billion, bro. Like Figure only needed to go to 4 billion to double. Tesla has not doubled since 200. It's still at 350. And I think Figure is worth much more than 4 billion right now. So Eat says, dude, you're going to 100x minimum on Figure, figuratively speaking. I like what you did there. But yeah, dude, I think there's a potential to 100x. I really do. I think there's potential to even do more than 100x. Just given we got in at 2 billion, bro. Like 2 billion. Like it was nothing for a robot. That's why I was just like so grateful for Derek to get me into this. I was like, yeah, dude, like get me in, please get me in. And let's see kind of how this can play out. I think Figure is going to be worth $1 trillion one day. So if I invested in 2 billion, that 25,000 would turn into 10 million. Now that's not happening overnight, but that's one of those things that gives me another reassurance of like, okay, I really don't need equity in a property right here, given how much shit you have to deal with when it comes to buying a property. I'd rather have my freaking money in a startup that's actually compounding and doing well. So one of my friends just texted me right here. I guess he's watching the stream. He says, a house is an expense. It's not an investment. You can get a house or apartment, and so you can make it yours, customize it, and nobody can kick you out. If you want real estate income, buy AGNC, 15% dividend paid monthly. That's a REIT. I agree with you, bro. I agree. He said, a house is an expense. It's not an investment. This is someone who I respect a lot, and they've been pretty successful in their life. And I agree. I agree with you, dude. That's more, I've been thinking, like, dude, if you know what to do with your money and you can get a return and you don't have to have it stuck in something and you don't have kids or anything where you need a property, then I think at the end of the day, a house, you know, it's a little bit more of a liability than anything at this stage of my life. And that's what I'm thinking about currently right now. How do we invest in Figure? I think the only way to invest in Figure, guys, is when it goes public at this point. I mean, ARK has some Figure in their fund, so you can get exposure via that, but I really don't like the startup ETFs. Like, I kind of hate those products. So that's one way. I don't know if they do another fundraising round, if you're going to be able to, like, if anyone can participate in it, because it's probably going to be like institutionals. If you really want Figure shares, again, I showed you guys this website, HIIV Hive. That is the website. It's the marketplace for buying and selling pre-IPO stocks. Now, you're going to have to pay a premium on those, but regardless, if you think the company is like OpenAI, like, let's just look at OpenAI on this platform right now. Let's do SpaceX. If we go to SpaceX, so, okay, we have to log in to like see the prices, but you can see right there, right? Highest bid, lowest ask, last transaction, live orders, 264. So you got 264 bidding right now for SpaceX. So if you want to buy SpaceX at 250 billion, you're probably gonna have to buy it at like 300 billion on this platform. But if you think SpaceX is going to like 5 trillion, then you kind of don't care, right? And so Figure, you can also get Figure on this platform. You just have to be able to pay a little bit of a higher price. Do you have to be a millionaire? I don't know. You can sign up for the website. I think you have to show some tax documents or whatever for them to like approve you. But there are different ways to get access to it. How'd you get Figure? I have a really good friend, Derek. You guys know him on the channel. I was talking to him the other day, and I was just, after I saw Figure's video, I just called him up and I said thank you again for getting me into that deal. But he really fought to get me into that deal. And he got a lot of people that he trusted and he wanted to have an opportunity, like truly an opportunity of a lifetime to get into the deal. I mean, the real story behind it is he was watching my Palantir content for years. He made a good amount of money on Palantir. And, I never really asked for anything, never had any coupon codes or discords or anything like that. So he just thought there was a little bit of authenticity there. And he got me into the deal. And he had to work with his lawyers and all that stuff to get me into it, but he got me into it. And I'm very grateful for that, because I think that's money that can compound aggressively over the next 10 years. So that's just another reason why I don't want to get a house. Like, because if anything, I can get a loan against that Figure equity, right? Because if the bank thinks that Figure is going to be a multi-trillion-dollar company and you can show you have an equity stake, you can get a loan against that. Like, there's just so many ways to navigate the next couple of years from a financial perspective versus having to be locked up in a house. Also, then I have to stay in the house, right? Like, I can't just pick up and leave. Because like, then, what's going on in the house, who's managing the house, who's navigating the house, am I renting out the house? Like, the freedom to be able to travel over the next couple of years, which I think I'm going to be doing a lot more of as well, is another thing I'm thinking about as well. So those are all the thoughts that I'm thinking of when it comes to financing. Amid, on your initial Figure announcement call, Derek mentioned a chance we could all potentially get in. Did he ever follow up with that? So it wasn't Figure that he was thinking of getting people into. It was other like deals, because that Figure round was closed, so there was no way to get into that. But other deals haven't really come up that have been that good. Derek's a really picky investor, bro. Derek, he's very picky when it comes to VC investments. Like, because he's been in this shit for a long time. He's passed on some good companies. Like, Derek passed on Twitter a long time ago. He could have made a lot of money off Twitter, but then he invested in Slack and Twilio, which have become tens of billions of dollars of companies. Slack got acquired for like 40 billion. So he's really picky when it comes to a good deal, and he has just not seen a good deal. The only other good deal he saw was XAI, but I just don't think that was open to the public. So he invested in XAI, and I think he's up double on that because he invested at 25 billion. Now it's at 50 billion. But in terms of really good deals at $2 billion market caps like Figure was, I mean, there's just nothing out there, dude. Just nothing out there that was like Figure at 2 billion with the TAM that is hundreds of trillions. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, that's the TAM of robotics. There was just nothing like it. So, until that happens, I think we'll see. But if that does happen, there's a lot of SPVs out there. So maybe there's opportunities to get people in. Dogecoin right here at 41 cents. Bitcoin at 98,000 currently right now. Cardano, Carlos says, is pumping. Yeah, 13%. Look at Cardano. Wow, look at that. 31 cents on October 25th. Talk about a 3X, baby. Here's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Trading coins and making money off that is a legit business. I mean, if you bought Cardano at 31 cents, you are up 3X on it right now. I don't care if it's Cardano, if it's Bardano, if it's Stardano, if it's Palantir, Tesla, Apple. If something 3Xs and you can buy it for 31 cents and sell it at $1, that is real money. And so I think what's happening also in the crypto ecosystem, going back to the question of can Bitcoin get above 100,000, you've got a lot of people getting into these alternative assets, alternative coins, and they don't care what the hell the coin does. They just want to buy it low, sell it higher. And when you've got that much money coming in, A, that could create a little bit of a speculative bubble. That's fair. But B, that just brings a lot of interest into the ecosystem. And when you have something like that happening and you've got the White House supporting that ecosystem, I think the trend is higher, not in every coin, but definitely in the main asset, which is Bitcoin. And so I think there can be a lot of momentum for the broader crypto ecosystem if that happens. That's Temu's whole business. Yes, Temu, literally, they find whatever they can sell at 2 cents higher than what they buy. I had an opportunity to get into Anduril. I don't like it, dude, at 20 billion. I don't love Anduril. I got someone into Anduril at 20 billion. So I passed on the opportunity, but I got someone else who was interested into it, and they got 50 grand into Anduril. But I passed on it because I just didn't love the valuation, and I don't like that they don't have a commercial business. But once they get a commercial business, it'll be more interesting. But currently, right now, as a defense contractor, it's not the most exciting thing. Kenny, thank you for becoming a channel member. Appreciate that. Thank you, Kenny, for becoming a channel member. Someone says, is Steve still bullish on XRP? Yes, he is. We did a whole segment on that. That'll be in the description in the chat when you look at the chapters. XRP, we talked about XRP. So we talked about that with Steve. Again, I like his thesis, but I'm not buying XRP because just not bullish enough to actually hold on to the coin. Beneficial says, just realized my portfolio hit plus 200% all-time gain, mostly all from Hood. I love that. That is amazing. Dude, freaking Robinhood this year, dude. That's why when Steve says, oh, I wouldn't want to talk to Vlad, I'm like, Steve, you guys know I could. So let me show you guys this DM. Let me show you this DM. I'm going to make a post about this one day later in 2025. But so there's a guy that you guys don't know. Let me see if I can find the DM right here. And it's a person that I talked to early in the Robinhood journey. Oh, there it is right here. Okay, so there's a guy named Somia. Okay. And no one was talking about Hood in December 2023, right? It was just me posting stuff. Arnie was talking about it a lot in July 2023, but then Arnie kind of like just stopped caring about it too much. And so, he just kind of tailed off on it. So he wasn't actively producing DD every day, right? And so we had some summer DD of Robinhood when it was in, it was July 2023 from people like Arnie, myself looking into it. But then October, November, December, I started getting much more like into the story, and there was just not a lot of people yet. So I found this one guy who was talking about Hood, who's like big on crypto, like super big on crypto. And this is the DM I sent him, December 7th, 2023. I said, hey, Somia, DMing to ask about your bull thesis on Hood 2024. I've also developed a large position. I was putting the story together at 8. I didn't fully understand it till 980, and that's when I loaded heavily. Wanted to know how you think things are going to shake out. I believe this hasn't even started for them. So I said that in December 2023, December 7th, 11:51 p.m. And then he responds with like going back and forth. I'm really bullish on Hood, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. And we just start going back and forth. And it's so crazy because we should call him Simona. Yeah, we got to call him Simona now. It's so crazy because that was at $8 or $9.80. And now we're at 36. We were at 38 IPO price the other day. And you just think about the journey you've had covering a company and the journey you've had following a stock. And it gets quite emotional to an extent because yes, the gains are there and that's amazing. But it's like you made all these friends along the way, all these random strangers that you texted being like, I don't know this guy. I just knew that he was posting about Robinhood. And I was like, dude, I need someone to talk about this with because I have no one. I have no one to talk about this with. Can we like get on a phone call? Can we talk? And it's so crazy how a stock, I mean, that's what Palantir did for so many of us, right? Like a stock can bring people together. You can say, hey, I kind of think Palantir at $7 is stupid. Like, what does the market not get? Like, this company is like Carp is blah, blah. And then you're like, that's how I met Steve. That's how I met Sachin, Arnie, all these people connected because of that thesis. And for Hood, it was with this like random dude who was one of the only people in December actually talking about it. And now, now we're seeing the stock up, more than 400% from those levels. So it's pretty incredible. It's pretty freaking incredible to kind of see how it's played out. I mean, what is your average in Hood? So the first set of options were bought at like $9 and the next set of options were bought at 14. So I guess the average between 8 and 14. My actual shares are in like the 24, 25 range because I bought the shares after I bought the options. But the options themselves, when God willing, everything works out in 2025, when I sell them, you guys will like see, the whole rundown of it. But it was in like the 9s to 10s, I guess. We want to take the average between 8 and 14 or $12, whatever. That is what the option average is. It's not really an average on the stock because the option has its own average against like the return of the option. But like if you compare it to where the stock was when I bought the options, then basically like 12 to 14. So that's what we got. And the amount of crowdsourced information you're able to get quicker than Bloomberg terminals, all from the connections. Yeah, that's another thing, dude. I want to get a terminal, bro. I really need to get a terminal. I don't think it's worth $25,000 a year, but like maybe in a year when $25,000 still to me is a pretty good chunk of change. Maybe in a couple of years it won't be, but I want to get the terminal because it is really good for real-time updates. But if you don't have the terminal, like a lot of us here, we need crowdsourced DD. And the way to get crowdsourced DD is to hit up random people on Twitter that are talking about a stock and have a conversation and try to set up. So that's important. Are you planning to sell all of them? Can you suggest? Yeah. So my options, I have over 1,000 spreads on Hood that I will be unloading as long as everything works out in January. So maybe I'll even do it live. We'll see. But I will be unloading all of those in January. And then I have another set of spreads, 350 of them, that are $20 strikes that expire in 2026. So I am thinking, is it worth selling those in January, or do we just let them appreciate going into 2026? Because I think Robinhood will be above 20 by 2026. I was doing the math, and I think I can make a better return on them if they're priced at a certain level in January, where it makes sense to sell and then use the money to actually generate a return versus like just wait for it to play out. But there's definitely 1,000 of these, 1,019 to be exact, that we're unloading into January. And that is what will create some capital. Everyone's been saying, like, why aren't you investing in Tesla? Well, I don't really have the money to do that yet. But we will have some money to be able to begin other positions when we have that. Amit, what was your thought when you entered the trade and why the spread? So I told the story before. First of all, the spreads, simple answer for that. Chris, my mentor, that's kind of just how I think about this. Instead of just the long call, you can have a short call, which covers the volatility, because if Robinhood were to go down, the short call goes up. If Robinhood goes up, the long call goes up, but it's covered by the short call. So the profit of the spread is capped at a 5, 6, 7x, whatever you have. But the return is still really good. So for example, for Sofi real quick, right? I bought the spread at 35 cents. It's worth $500 if Sofi gets to 20 in December or January 2026, $15 long call, $20 short call. 500 divided by 35 is a 14x. That is a really good return. Now, could you make like a 26x or something if Sofi runs to 35? Yes. And then I missed out on that extra 14x. But I'm really happy with turning 3,500 into 50,000. Like that would be nice. That'd be very nice if I could do that. Right. So the downside to the spread is that you limit your upside. But if the upside is still really good, then there's no need to like get super scared about limiting your upside, especially because what if Sofi doesn't go to 35? What if Sofi barely goes to 21, and you just get in the money? So the short side of the call really hedges against any of the volatility of the stock. Now, having said that, that was the reason why I bought the spreads. The thought process of entering the trade, I told this story a while ago. I saw the crypto numbers. This is why it's so ironic, because I didn't think Bitcoin really was a thing a couple of years ago. And then I saw crypto coming back in October of 2023. I looked at Robinhood's monthly metrics, and their crypto revenues were up 74%, not year over year, month over month. And that was the first thing, was like, oh, hold on. Robinhood is like an obvious crypto play. And then in general, since July, I wrote a big thread in July when I first got into it. I was like, I use this app every day. How am I not? $8 billion market cap and $6.5 billion in cash. Like, it was stupid, right? The valuation made no sense. I use the product every day. I didn't care about the whole GameStop thing. I knew they messed up in that situation, but I was like, all right, they'll eventually get over that. And then I saw the crypto revenues explode in October, or the trading volumes. And I was like, all right. And so what was funny about Steve, I always give him shit about this. I called Steve. I remember I was walking down that street. Robinhood was $8.15. It was up 2% on the day. I had not entered into the position yet, like heavily. And I called Steve and I'm like, Steve, like, I think the play is Robinhood. And he's like, eh. And I'm like, Steve, it's fucking Robinhood. Like, why would we not? And he's like, eh. And so I didn't enter the trade that day because freaking Steve and his stupid Okay, that actually sounded a little bit that sounded a little bit different than what I was trying to say. But his stupid got me thinking, like, damn it. Maybe Steve's right about this. Maybe I shouldn't buy Robinhood, right? Maybe I shouldn't do it. And so ultimately, why was Steve moaning? Steve was not moaning. I made that wrong gesture, but that's Steve. Steve was more so just like, dude, fuck off. It's like, I mean, that's not what he literally said, but that's what he was basically saying. Sounded very Grinder of you. I hate you guys so much, dude. Grinder's up, baby. I'm up 7% on it. I don't care. But basically, Steve, like, and Steve does do that stuff many times when I mention things to him. He's like, whatever. And on the phone, I was just like, bro, like, it's Robinhood. And he was like, nah, it's whatever, bro. I remember I was walking down there. I remember I had my Beats headphones on. I was on the phone and I couldn't get, he was like, what's their operating income? But I was like, Steve, it's 6 billion in cash, 8 billion market cap. We're getting into a good market. The Fed's cutting rates. Like this has to make sense to you. And he was like, nope. Or more realistically, he was like, And so I was like, all right. And so I think I bought a little that day, like a very little. I think I bought the first set of spreads at 1520 for January 2026. I think I paid 68 cents for them. And then I woke up the next morning and Robinhood was freaking 940. And then in that moment, I was like, fuck Steve. I don't care. I love Steve, but I don't give a fuck anyway. This guy's wrong about this. And that's why he doesn't want to have a conversation with Vlad, because he's been wrong about Robinhood. So, and I love him, but he couldn't get out of his own bias for this one. And so that night, again, the story, I see one of the super chats. I'll get to that in just a second. But the story was I called up my boy Sebastian, who works at an investment bank in LA. And I was tweeting, I didn't even call him up. I was tweeting about Robinhood that night. Let me see if I can get the exact thread. And he texted me. It was like 2 a.m. my time, 11 p.m. his time, because he's in California. And he was like, yo, do you think like Robinhood's an opportunity? I was like, bro, can we talk about the numbers? And so we stayed up from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. DCF, all this shit. We were doing the numbers because he's like really, really good on the numbers. Yeah, here's the tweet. Look at this. Here's the tweet. This was the December 4th, 2023. Look at this. I'm going to be up late tonight finishing work. I will add to this thread every hour with some DD. I've been really studying Robinhood a bit obsessively over the past few weeks. And although I don't know where the stock will go, this valuation seems like there's alpha to be had. We'll update the thread throughout the night. But for now, my first element of my DD will be wrapped in one sentence. Don't bet against immigrant founders who started their companies from just an idea and brought it to the public markets. Vlad is building something special. I think Vlad saw this in December, and that's why we ended up doing the podcast. Like, I think he saw this when no one was talking about it, and that's why he wanted to like actually sit down with me. But like, this is what I tweeted at 11:18 December 4th, and then look what happened. Here's the last picture of this thread. I was on the phone with this dude for hours talking about it. Update, because I kept updating every hour. And then I said, update, we're trying to figure out fair value, LOL. Update, it's undervalued by a lot. This was at 4:56 a.m., bro. Like, and then the next morning, I wake up and I put $50,000 into Robinhood options. And I had to buy at a higher price. I bought them at $850 the other day, and then it got to $940, and I was just like, screw it. I don't care. I don't care. Love Steve. I don't care. Because during that phone call, we did a bunch of DCFs and EBITDA multiples, like being pretty conservative with user growth, ARPU, all that stuff. And he said, dude, this thing's worth $16 minimum. It was $8. And I was like, we were conservative with our projection. He's like, yeah, we're pretty conservative, dude. We're assuming like X above, like this is 16. And then he woke up, my boy Sebastian, the next day, and he put in a ton of money. This was again at $9. The problem is he sold it at 12, and he texted me. He was like, I sold the options. And I'm looking at this text, and I'm like, dude, we just went from 9 to 12. I don't know how much he made, maybe like 30, 40% on it or whatever. And I'm like, why? Like, why did you do like, why are you like, this is a long-term story. What are you talking about? And so I had to withstand my smart investment banker friend selling out of the position. I had to withstand Steve not liking it. And overall, I had to withstand some general bearish commentary that people were having about Robinhood. And I stuck with the story. And that's what makes Robinhood really special this year. It was one of the first stocks outside of Palantir, because Palantir is Palantir, right? We've been covering that for years, but you know, you can't be a one-hit wonder. You got to get another one. You know, you got to get the third one. You got to get the fourth one. You got to get the fifth. Like, you got to keep this game going if you want to survive in this industry. And so Robinhood was a special one because Chris didn't help at all with this one, because Chris has not bought Robinhood ever since. Right? Chris is just like, Chris never really got on board with it. Steve was anti-Robinhood. So I had no friends supporting it other than these random people on Twitter and me talking to them saying, am I crazy or does this make sense? And ultimately, hopefully, we don't end up being too crazy. Someone said, can you make the noise Steve made again? No, but Steve, yo, I want him to do it on the stream one day. Literally, he goes like, like literally every time I have an idea he doesn't like, he's like, like he's just like that's it. He'll just be like, really. And then I have to probe him. I'm like, yo, but bro, like this. He's like, like Steve is ideological, bro. Steve, like he never believed in Robinhood like revolutionizing retail trading. He always thought Schwab was safer. All this like boomer shit, quite frankly. And that's why he missed out on it. But I had to, make sure I wasn't influenced by that. And I definitely didn't have his blessings to make the trade because he just did not care. The third one is Grindr. The third one might be Grindr. I haven't fully embraced Grindr being the third one. We got Palantir. I think we got Hood. We need to get the third one. I have not fully embraced Grindr as the third one, but maybe that ends up being the case. What about Arnie? So Arnie himself has said that he kind of like gave up on Robinhood because he just didn't care that much about it. And he admitted the other day that it was a mistake because just from a brand building perspective, right? The more stocks you have to talk about, the more you can build your brand. And like he was first on Robinhood in July 2023, but then he just kind of like forgot about it, right? Even he didn't think, I remember I was talking to him in DC and I said, I think 25 by the end of the year. I think Robinhood was 18. He's like, 25 is aggressive, bro. Like it can happen, but 25 is aggressive. And I was like, I think 25, dude. I think we can do it. And then we had to go through a lot of shit. We had to go through August 5th, all that stuff. But now we're here. So Arnie still has Robinhood. I think he bought at 27. So he's up on that. He's very bullish on them, but from a content perspective, he just wasn't covering them that much. Teddy, thank you for the $100 super chat. Amit, this is long overdue. Thank you for all you do. It was your stream that caught my attention for Palantir. And now I'm retired on Palantir. Dude, that's so cool. That is so freaking cool. Thank you for the $100 super chat, bro. I really appreciate it. It's really cool, man. It's really, really, really cool. Again, it always feels kind of humbling when someone says something like that, because at the end of the day, I didn't buy it for you. You pulled the trigger. So it's one of those things that you have to be very proud of, that you made the decision. But I do acknowledge, the content definitely has influence, and hopefully the content when Palantir was a lot cheaper than it is right now had a lot of influence on people. So it's awesome, bro. Super, super awesome. It's so cool, dude. But it's kind of the same story, right, Teddy? Because this random guy on Twitter that I messaged in December about Robinhood, which has created some really, important gains for me. This random dude, just having that affirmation by him when no one else was giving me affirmation, that has quite literally changed my life, right? Now, he didn't buy the stock for me, but just having someone to like piggyback off of, it helped you make the decision. So I understand like having the streams just being there and the videos being there kind of helped you. But at the end of the day, you made the investment. And now you're retired, which is really, really awesome. I'm going to retire in Amit's third pick. Dude, I don't think the third pick is going to be Grindr. I don't think it's going to be. Like, I really think there's a good thesis there, but it's not enough of a thesis. Like Robinhood from $8 is at almost 40. Like Grindr is not going to be at $60, bro. There's not a 4X in Grindr. Like that's just not happening. Maybe there's $25 in Grindr by the end of next year. Maybe. I just don't think they have the growth to be able to get there. They're going to do 30% growth, which is good, but it's not going to be the type of growth like Robinhood or Palantir or anything like that. Matt says Walgreens, it's me against the world. Walgreens will hit a 52-week low yesterday, right? Where's Walgreens? Matt, look, I want to be on board with you on Walgreens, but I'm still missing. It was up 4% today. Yeah, it was down yesterday at $8. Wow, it went $8.08. I still don't see the overarching thesis other than they're going to cut unprofitable stores. Outside of that, it's really hard for me to see the broader thesis. No stress investors. I felt alone buying Hood under $10 a share. I was posting about it nonstop and got no engagement. Yeah, I guess I just probably wasn't able to find your content. I think I found you probably at like $14. No stress. I found you probably, I think I followed you around February, and that's when Robinhood just had their fourth quarter earnings. And that's when I started seeing a lot more of a community getting built up for Robinhood. And that's when I started finding people like you and a ton of other people. But yeah, below 10, it was hard to find people, dude. It was hard to network because there just weren't that many people talking about it. There just weren't that many people. Amit, you know where my portfolio is. I will not fail to get in heavy on the next one. Too much tiptoe when we went into Hood. Yeah, so that's a good point. So again, we were talking about this the other day. This is kind of what Druckenmiller says. When you identify an opportunity and you believe in it, you don't go 100% in, you go, 2,000% in it. Like you go in, right? You go deep when something actually when you believe in something super seriously. I don't have any regrets on how deep I've went into Robinhood. The only regret, and you guys know, is I sold my Roth IRA Robinhood calls too early. I mean, let's do some fucking math right now, dude. How much are the 20? I haven't looked at this because it always depresses me. But $25 call on Robinhood today is worth what? I don't even want to see this shit, dude. It's worth $12.05. That's $1,205. I had 200 of them. That would have been my Roth. That would have been my fucking Roth. 250 grand. I would have had 250 fucking $1,000 in my Roth if I had not tiptoed on Hood. That is 35 years of Roth contributions. Like, now I know hindsight is 2020 and all that stuff. And now I have the motivation to take my next Roth contribution of 7,000 and turn that sucker into 250. Maybe I YOLO it on Walgreens, Matt. Maybe because I'm so pissed off about that. You guys are like, to have a retirement account with $250,000, bro, and then to just wheel that $250,000 and get 3% a month, like, goodness gracious, that would have been so amazing. But I sold early, right? And so it's one of those lessons, dude. And you never know when you're right. You never know when you're wrong. Maybe Robinhood would be stuck at like $15, $20 today. Like, there's so many things that could have happened. But that was one of those things where I had the conviction. Thankfully, in my main portfolio, I didn't sell. But in the Roth, I got rid of it. So I agree with you, Doug. The next time we find an opportunity like that, you can't tiptoe. You got to go even deeper than we want to go. Now, we could be wrong. That's the risk reward. But if we're right, and it's tax-free, if we're right, then we could be doing very well. And it was tax freaking. That's the other reason I'm waiting till January to sell these freaking options. Like, because if I sell them now, the taxes are going to be insane, bro. And I have to pay them in April. That's 5 months away. I don't have that money going into April. Like, there's no way I'm going to have that money in capital unless I literally take it out of my brokerage, which I really don't want to do. So if I sell it in January and everything goes well, I have, a year to pay the taxes versus 4 months. So that's another reason I'm just waiting until January and kind of taking some time with that and letting it play out. But that's bad, right? That sucks. Like, that's not fun. That's not fun to know. I really haven't looked up the number. I've been saying 90 grand in my head because that was the last time I looked at it. Now I know it's more than 90. It's 250. Now, to my credit, I probably would have sold when it was up 40, 50K because there's no way I would have seen, 10,000 turn into 50,000 in my Roth and be like, I'm not taking profits. Like, I have to be honest enough with myself to know I probably would have done that. But in the main portfolio, see, this is another reason why it's important to have goals and like exit strategies. I've had a number this whole year that I've been aiming for. And now that we're inching near that number, I'm like, all right, I knew that if I wait until this moment and these stocks are at these prices based on these options, this number will be achieved. And that's when I sell. And nothing stopped me this year, not even August 5th, of like keeping that in mind. But in the Roth, I had no plan. It was just a random Tuesday before NVDA earnings. And I was like, all right, like, market's tanking, I should take some profits. You know what's also sad, bro? Here's another thing. My mom, I bought her $15, $20 spreads on Robinhood for 2025, not even 2026. At one point, I was getting those spreads at 28 cents. It's a $5 spread. 5 divided by 0.28. That's a 17x return. I sold them for a double. She got $4,000 off of that in profits. It's, it's some of those things, bro, where it's like if I had held that for her, I could give her $20,000 right now instead of $4,000, or probably more than $20,000. And that would have been awesome, right? Because who would not love to give their mom $20,000, right? So it's just sometimes you got to have a clear exit strategy, and when you got to really believe in a thesis when it works out. Now, it's easy to say this now that Robinhood's at 36, and that's why investing is so hard, because it's hard to say this. Like, when Robinhood's at 13 and I'm worried if I'm going to lose my mom's $10,000 that she gave me, I don't want to lose that money, right? So I'm like, let me protect the money. It's easy to say at 36, but this is why investing is one of the hardest games in the world. And I will always have respect for Howard Oakes, David Tepper, Bill Ackman, Stanley Druckenmiller, Warren Buffett, like these guys that are able to do it year after year after year with all the risks that come with like being too early, being too late. It's just a hard game to win. It's a really, really hard game to win. If China makes a comeback, is BABA the next play? Maybe. TJ did buy some BABA the other day. I like the BABA buy at 80. I really like it at 70. But China's actually got to come back. We actually got to get some real stimulus from China for it to come back. Bitcoin right here at 98,991 on Bitcoin. Imagine we had just been wrong on the hood timeline and it was PayPal instead. Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing. Imagine we were wrong on the hood timeline, all of us in the hood community, and it was PayPal's trajectory, right? Like PayPal has been pretty flat. I mean, now it's doing better, but it's been flat for the majority of the year. And so I didn't expect Robinhood to have this type of explosion, but they did, and I'm so grateful for that. That's why, you know, even though I'm annoyed that I missed out on a lot of money, I'm so grateful for what Vlad has been able to do, because, you know, derivatives on his company using his platform have changed my life, and God willing, Robinhood continues to keep executing. But they've executed, and that's why they've got the multiple, right? And if they didn't, you know, I wouldn't be having this conversation. It would be one of those like, oh, why'd you go so heavy into Robinhood? Like, this is the shit company. But like, it, you know, like for the people with PayPal that are deep in PayPal right now, they've done well, but they haven't done really well. And so a lot of people are like, why are you in PayPal? Like, this dinosaur old company. Like, all the same things you could say, but if PayPal was $125, it wouldn't be a dinosaur old company. It would be a company that had this massive recovery play that's buying back their shares and their free cash flow. Like, the narrative switch. Like, look at SoFi now. SoFi is an amazing fintech that's going to be the next big JP Morgan one day. Whereas at $7, it was just like, what is this thing? Like, you can't even do level 1 options on it. And the thing about SoFi that I'm really happy about this year is I've been pretty bearish on SoFi, the company, for the majority of the year. But by September, when I bought those spreads, I realized, and this is where you got to be so humble. This is why I've never on Twitter made a post like that's flat out shitting on SoFi, ever. And, you know, I had a lot of people. It was funny because, you know, when SoFi was 7 and Robinhood was like 25 or whatever, you know, I would tweet about Robinhood, and you would have some SoFi people under my tweets saying whatever, but like their stock was stuck. My stock was going up a lot. And you would have other people in the hood community kind of defending my posts, being like, bro, you know, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? SoFi has done nothing. Robinhood's doing blah, 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 right? And I never piggybacked on that. I never kind of added fuel to the fire, because in my head, I was like, no, SoFi is a good company. I know SoFi is a good company. I know Noto's not, like, I know this guy's not an idiot. Like, I know, but the stock's broken right now. And so I think part of being humble in this finance space is realizing it was really easy to be when Netflix was 25 and SoFi was 6 for me to be, or not Netflix. When Robinhood, Netflix is 900. When Robinhood was 25 and SoFi was 6, it was really easy to be like, if you're in SoFi, GG, it's over. You lost. This is stupid. You're wasting money. Opportunity cost. Yeah. The reason I never made any of those comments is because A, you got to be a really cocky douchebag to say that stuff when someone's stock is down. B, and that's just, that's not who I am. B, stocks don't always stay down forever, right? Stocks don't always stay down forever. And when things change, the deep liquidity of the public markets, this company has 1 billion shares outstanding, things can change overnight. And so at the end of September, my bearishness on SoFi, the company, or the stock, as someone says right here, I was bearish the stock, not the company. My bearishness on the stock at that moment was like, it's a $3,500. I called Steve about this as well. I told you guys this story. Steve was like, I want to buy a house. I need to turn 100,000 into 3 million. And we were just messing around. And I was just like, well, Steve, I have been looking at SoFi, and I know you like SoFi. So maybe there's like an option strategy here. And he was like, let's pull up the option chain. So we pulled up the option chain. And ironically, I was on the phone with Steve when I found out the $15, $20 spread was 35 freaking cents. And I'm on the phone with Steve. I'm like, Steve, this is 35 cents. I was like, Steve, do you think SoFi is $20 by 2026? This is when SoFi was 7. And he was like, I don't know. It's like, Steve, even if it doesn't get to 20, even if it gets to 13, like, we're going to be up like 200% of the spread. Like you said, you wanted to turn 100,000 into 3 million. I know he was joking, but he did have, you know, money that he wanted to like do something a little bit more riskier with. Cause I don't know, Steve changes his emotions every other day. He comes up with some new plan. So I was like, this is the play. Steve did not follow me on this play, just like he didn't follow me on Robinhood, because Steve's risk appetite is still a little bit smaller. And granted, he's older, so I get it. I'm younger. But still, even though I was so bearish on SoFi, the stock, I know the company was executing. And for 3,500, if I lose 3,500, all right, that sucks. But if 3,500 turns into 50,000, like, I look really fucking smart, right? Like, and like, you got a 14x on something that, like, I don't even do a ton of DD on. Everyone else is doing the DD. I'm just coming in hopefully at the bottom. And it looks like so far that is kind of how it's playing out. So I think there's a level of humility that needs to be had in financial markets. And if you're going to be bearish on a name, like truly bearish, you've got to be so cocky and confident in your bearish thesis that you're shitting on the stock, especially if you're shitting on the stock publicly, is able to be defended. And a lot of times that, stocks tend to go up more than they tend to go down because in general, the market tends to go up more than it tends to go down. And so either it's a shit company, like even SMCI freaking couldn't get an auditor for 3 weeks, and that stock is up 40%. I mean, like it's crazy, right? Like SMCI, they lost their freaking auditor and they're up 40% because people were like, oh, well, $17 is a good deal. Like that, the financial markets tend to reward good narratives and companies that are somewhat executing and like showing that they have progress. Because where else are you going to put the money? You're going to put it in Apple that's barely growing. Like you need different opportunities. And even Apple fucking up 30% this year and they've like really not shown any growth. So I think that humility is very important. I think that humility is very, very important. Jay Strez, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Thanks for getting me on Hood, and your market day summary tweets have been great. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I've started this new thing on Twitter, guys. And apparently people like it. So I've continued to do it every night, and I like doing it, but I don't know if you guys have seen it. I do like a market summary every single day. And I kind of just gather, I say a ton of things happened in the stock market today. We go through a full recap. I put about 12 bullet points. And then we ended off with Wall Street is the greatest show on earth. And people have been enjoying it. People have been enjoying the summaries every single day. So I will continue to do it. People are saying, is Grok writing this? Is ChatGPT writing this? The answer is no, because those devices, A, they still suck at like communicating effectively and like putting in the right details. B, they can't aggregate everything that's going on and then like effectively put it into something that's readable, because they're still not that good at searching the web yet. So, but it doesn't matter because I'm talking about the markets all day. So like 12 bullet points is really easy for me to come up at night, and I've enjoyed doing it. So the dumb money guys were talking about it. I was in that stream. They were like, Chris was like, because Chris asked Dave a question about Hood, and Dave was like, oh, Dave didn't know that they acquired the company for $300 million. And Chris was like, don't you follow Amit? How do you not know that? And Dave was like, yeah, of course I follow Amit. I'm looking at his freaking market summary right now to figure out what we're going to talk about on the show. I was like, that's cool. That was really cool. That's dope. So no more macro darts. Yeah, no more macro darts. That's something I started back in January. I thought I could keep up with the like macro news every day. It just got too complicated, dude. It's like growing multiple Twitter accounts is very difficult, is what I realized in January. And I like, dude, same exact thing with stocks. In January, I had an idea of like, let me start like 4 or 5 Twitter accounts and like try to grow all of them. 4 or 5 stocks is hard to manage. 4 or 5 Twitter accounts is hard to manage. But if you consolidate and say, I'm going to go for 2 stocks, I'm going to go for 1 Twitter account and try to be as valuable as I can on that Twitter account, you don't need to give people a reason to follow these derivative accounts, because they can just follow your own account and put the same content there. So I think this year, I think 2024, if I had to give one word to the lessons I've learned in 2024 that have described this word, it's been consolidation. Consolidation has been my theme in 2024. Consolidating with finances, consolidating with content. Sometimes you got to consolidate. And you got to make it simple for people, right? Like, is it simpler to go all in on 2 stocks versus try to get the same return on 10 stocks? It's simpler for those 2 stocks if you're right about them. Is it simpler to get people to read your content on one account that they're already following, that they can share to other people? Or is it simpler to make 17 other accounts that you want people to follow? Like, it's easier to do it in one place. And sometimes you have these years in life where you have these lessons, and these lessons like actually like manifest themselves in terms of the actions you take, whether financially, career-wise, professional choices. I'm sure you guys in the chat that have worked at jobs have made certain career choices professionally that have changed the trajectory of the career. And then those years really matter, right? They set up a foundation for going forward, and they kind of teach you a lot in terms of what you can do going forward. Doug says, yeah, I tried to do multiple accounts, 1 for finance, 1 for politics, 1 for sports, and 1 for random shit posting. Well, too bad. Y'all follow me, you get all 4 now. Yeah, exactly. That is 1000% correct. I'll keep doing the market summaries. I like doing it every day. I really enjoy doing it. And I'm already paying attention to the news every day. So it's rather simple for me to find all the news, aggregate, and then write. It does take like 30, 40 minutes though. Like last night I was standing on the standing desk and I was like typing for 30, 45 minutes. Dude, I feel like a coder when I'm standing on the standing desk and I'm like typing tweets, because I'm tweeting all day. So I'm just like on this keyboard typing. This is very ASMR, isn't it? Sounds good. This sounds better than Steve's noise, but this is like, this is what I'm doing all day while I'm on Twitter, and I'm standing up. I feel like I'm coding, but I'm just writing tweets, and it takes a good 30, 40 minutes to write it up, but hopefully it is valuable. What did someone say right here? Matt says, been here since the video of Sachin going all in on Palantir. Watching your growth has been sick. You're the GOAT finance creator. I appreciate it, Matt. Thanks for being here. That video, dude, that was this guy all in Palantir. Where's this video? Oh, this is the video. There's the video. Dude, this is crazy. Look at this video, guys. This is crazy. Look at this. First of all, we had the beard in the thumbnail, and then we had the poker chips. It's meet the guy who's going all in into Palantir. But he YOLO'd into Palantir. Sachin, I think you're too old to be using that term, but nonetheless, he said you only live once. And this was a term made by Drake, American hip hop rapper. He used it in the song called "The Motto." I'm a huge Drake fan. Back in 2011. Well, like this is this stupid dude saying this stupid shit. Of course, it makes its way into the Palantir podcast. Like, goodness gracious, dude. I'm the same today. All right, let's hear what Sachin had to say about this.
And our conviction is high. And there was one story which always inspired me. And this is a story of two of the greatest investors of our all time. If I get it right, it was like this, that this one great investor was working in his early younger years under another great investors. Okay. And he had a conviction on something which was very high. And he is so bullish that he said we should invest 100%, but he was thinking how to tell this to this investor who is great but senior to him that I want to go 100% in. He musters the courage, he does a lot of analysis, he goes to his boss and he says like few bullet points that why he is, and he has all this thesis with him. And he says that, yeah, I'm bullish, I want to go 100%. And this senior guy told him that I'm disappointed. If you have this much conviction, you should go 200%. So the question that came to me is like, why someone at that position is it risky or is it really thoughtful? So I thought that there could be some scenarios where you really find out a situation that the risk reward is completely asymmetric.
This is when Palantir was $8. Let's see if Chris said anything. What is Chris saying about this?
I'm not in wealth preservation mode.
You wouldn't be homeless, basically.
That this is how
we've just been.
I'm gonna see if Chris had said anything in this one. Hold on. Did he say anything?
And kind of a
on his channel, got me like 800 subs that day. I love that guy. Yeah, go ahead. Well, that was when Jeremy watched my video. That was wild. And Jeremy actually like reacted to my video that day. I don't think Chris had a take in this one. There's plenty of clips where Chris actually was talking about Palantir. But yeah, these were the old days, bro. These were the old days. These were the videos that actually kind of, began building the community a little bit more. Let me see if I have some older clips from Palantir Weekly. Let's see. I have a playlist, I think, of them. Let's see if we can find some good ones. Let's see if we can get some OG Palantir content. I haven't watched in a while. Donald Trump chooses hedge fund executive Scott Bessent for Treasury Secretary. Okay, I think Elon likes this guy. I might be wrong. Elon might not like this guy. Can someone confirm that? There was some controversy on Elon not really liking this guy, or maybe I'm getting it the opposite. Maybe he does. But that is one of the things that was happening with Elon. Okay, so let me see. Where are some old Palantir Weekly clips? Because I know I have a bunch of them. I want to get some OG. Oh, we were talking about the gold stuff. We were talking about, is this the one? Oh, this one. Okay, let's see this. I don't know what we're going to talk about in this one, but I think this is a good one. Let's see. This is some old one. I was thinking about when you finally got orange pilled prior to Hood, it was building your Palantir news aggregator and paying the dev in BTC. Yeah, that was when I could pay someone in Bitcoin. That's when it started to make a lot more sense to me as well. Okay, the title of this was "The Market Doesn't Have to Get Palantir as Long as You Get It," posted March 26, 2022. What was Palantir's stock that day? Palantir, March 26, I think we were like $12. March 2022, we were at 11. But no, we were at 10.40 something. It's about $10. I want to read this comment by Mehdi right here. I think I think it has some merit to it. I've been investing for a while now. When the market misses things like this, it tends to have the biggest run once the market realizes it, and they will eventually just got to be patient. Sachin, you've been investing for longer than all of us. How do you kind of feel about the statement in general, outside of just Palantir?
No, I think it's right, and that's what I say. I mean, that's why this is core for my investing. I mean, before I invested in Palantir, I studied Palantir clients. I studied Palantir, what they do, what's good, what's bad in that. Okay, and there is a reason why companies miss it. Okay, like for example, first thing is there's a way we look at company. In a way, we want everything positive about company. Now, by the time everything is positive about company, Amazon become a $3,000 stock. Okay, so you have to decide what you are betting on, and it is driven by your world of future also. And I have discussed, like Chris mentioned, that we are not going to have enough data scientists. So the question is, if we are not going to have enough data scientists, how people are actually going to solve that problem? So one of the
Okay, let's see if Chris says anything here. Let's get some OG bullish Chris on Palantir. Let's see if he says anything.
How close do you guys think Palantir is to gap profitability? Because
Look at that, bro. We were talking about gap profitability. These were the old days, bro, before it actually happened. You said amid streaming from prison. That's so funny.
for me, I think 1.5, maybe 2 years, and you're going to start to see gap profitability. So many people were, and this
He was right. It was 1 year. He was right. It was a year away.
the same argument that people made against Tesla. Oh, if without those carbon credits, Tesla would be nothing. Well, guess what? What's your argument now? How much cash are they generating? How much net income are they generating? But guess what? Go buy Tesla stock now. Oh no, it's overvalued. Okay, so basically you were saying when it wasn't when it wasn't generating net income, it was overvalued at the time, and now it's even more overvalued. Come on, guys. So this is where I would say, and the other thing is, if you look at what Karp said on Q4, he's like, look, we're right there in terms of gap profitability. That is our next goal, right? Your CEO is out there saying, we're not taking this, this situation for granted where people are thinking that, hey, everyone's just going to be diluted into nothingness. They're taking it seriously. They understand that we have to be gap profitable. The CEO has come out and said it. Now it's
I was OG bullish Chris on Palantir, and then we had the Chris selling on Palantir. Do I have that video? Chris sells Palantir. Let me see. This guy sold Palantir. Let's see if I can find that one. This is so long ago, bro. It's for 2 years. I don't know if I have the exact clip. Chris sell Palantir amid. Let's see if it pops up. Let's see if it's the. No, it's not there. I'll try to find the clip later. But dude, these were OG days. OG days. Trying to do this stuff and come up with these theses. I remember this stream. Thank you, Amit, for sharing this content for the world. We've come a long way. I'm seeing a longer way to go. Palantir to Z Moon. And now Palantir is at $150 billion market cap, bro. It's wild. Amit is doing a Palantir greatest hits show to make up for no live show tonight. Someone said you said you were going to end the stream an hour ago. Well, you guys know by now when I say I'm going to end the stream, it is a warning to leave because we're not going to end the stream. So that's pretty much on Fridays, bro. This is just what happens, bro. I get to yapping, and then the yapping doesn't stop, and then we just keep talking and keep discussing different stuff. I'm trying to see if there's any other really good clips. I'm pretty sure I need to make a compilation of really good clip videos and trying to put it into like maybe a 5-minute video with like good 30-second moments from like old clips, because we need to, bro. We have so much content from 3 years of doing this podcast, like so much shit, just like trying to figure out this company. Like, dude, this stock should be $60, bro. We've done so much freaking work. Imagine the stock was still $25. One could argue maybe it would be, in the words of Brent Thill, at $28 more fairly valued. But the amount of freaking work we've done as a community for 3 years trying to fucking figure this out, thousands of videos, it should be 150 billion, bro. And I know no one wants that justification, but that's the justification. It's 150 billion because we've done so much damn work figuring this out. Trying to figure that out. Send that to Chris. Yeah, we got to send that to Chris. We got to do it. Compilation of mispronunciations would be good. Someone's got to make that, bro, because there's one like every day. So there's so many of them at this point. One day we will do a 24-hour stream. One day. Did you see AIP at the time? No, I had no idea. Dude, when they announced AIP, I did a video the day they announced AIP. I think it was Palantir just announced the most important thing. Let's see if I can find it. It caught me off guard, but it made sense, when they announced it. Here's the thing. When they announced it, I remember I was speaking to someone who still knew a lot of Palantir employees, and they said that Karp is so bullish on AIP, and they said that like Karp is like betting the company on AIP, and I mean, he pretty much did, right? And they basically said he's going all in on AIP, and this was back in 2023. That's when they had the first AIP con, and AIP wasn't even a thing at the time. It was just like this like layer on top of Foundry. It was just like a terminal in Foundry. It wasn't like an operating system per se. Now what it's developed into is just like, one of the most powerful operational workflow products around artificial intelligence and these agentic workflows incorporated inside of Foundry, but actually using the LLMs to create a ton of value. And so it has changed so much in the past 2 years, but Karp really had a thesis on what AIP would look like. I trimmed at 34 and then it doubled. WTF. Yeah, look at 34. A lot of people did not think it was going to 60. I definitely didn't think it was going to 60, but this is like, look, either it's the biggest bubble, and I will admit if it's a bubble, if we go back to 30, or this is a story we've seen so many times. We saw it with Tesla in 2021. And, Tesla came down from 2021, but I think that was more due to macro and interest rates. But like, if we just assume baseline, even Tesla today at $1 trillion, deserve to be at $1 trillion? Probably not, but you're betting on the potential, and people are betting on Musk, and they like Musk. They think he's cool. They think he's going to figure shit out. They like that. They're sending optimists with Kim Kardashian. The fact that this is one of the only companies working on something as revolutionary as Optimus, like people pay a premium for that. And if people pay a premium for that, they are going to be willing to make it more expensive. And as a result, Palantir 6409 right now is expensive for that premium. Bitcoin 98,960. Still trying to get into that 100K, but we are not there yet for Bitcoin. The Art of Value says Palantir is crazy expensive. 50x sales, not earning sales like back in 2021 with a lot of emerging tech stocks. I agree. It is expensive at 50x sales. However, I think that is a inadequate way to value Palantir by only using it, or by only trying to understand it from a price to sales metric. This is what a lot of the people that like think Palantir is a bubble, they don't want to hear. And it kills them to hear this, but it's the God honest truth. If you use price to sales and PE as or price to free cash flow as your only metrics to value a company, and Steve, who's one of the biggest metrics guys I know, he'll say this himself, you are having an absolutely insane, inadequate representation of what a company can be if it is a generational company. So then the question becomes, what is the qualitative way that we can come to an agreement for to understand these metric valuations? How do we justify 50 times price to sales? You can't do it through the numbers. There's no way. There's no way anyone can justify 50 times price to sales through the numbers. So there has to be something else. Okay, that requires something that we did for 3 years, which was research. Because when you do research and you see where Palantir is being used, how it's being deployed, how they're actually generating the value for these enterprises that are willing to pay them the amount of money they're paying, that all comes from qualitative analysis over quantitative stuff. And all the software guys that just hate that Palantir is trading at this crazy multiple and all these other software companies are trading at this multiple, they're only looking at the numbers. And if you only look at the numbers, I mean, like, I just don't know if you can have transformational gains in your life if you look at the numbers. The reason Steve did not like Robinhood, I remember the exact reason. He said that in December, when the Fed pivoted, 2023, Jay Powell said we're going to cut rates 3 times next time in 2024. That's what got the S&P from 410 to 460. Robinhood stock went from, I think, $6.75 to like $8, right? Not really a big gain. And Steve was like, wait a second. The market's up, from 410 to 460. Jay Powell's cutting rates. This is when people should be getting more bullish. Why is Robinhood barely moving? And I was like, I don't know. But he was like, that means that people aren't considering Robinhood like a real thing. And that reason that day is when I didn't load up even more, because he made me think like, all right, so I guess like Robinhood's not what I was thinking about. And then the next day it goes up like another 1 or 2%. And I'm like, no, wait a second. Like, this is just getting started. This is not about like a little move from $6 to $8. And so the point is Steve was not looking at the story that Robinhood was entering into 2024. I think it's the same thing with Palantir. Matt says valuations don't matter, is how retail investors get burned. I am not saying valuations don't matter. Quite far from it. If anything has taught me, if I've learned anything this year, it's that valuations matter more than anything. However, there is another component besides valuation to value a stock. Like, it's just that simple. It is really just that simple. Like a stock is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. And if there are people out there that for the past, forget 50s and 60s, since I came back from India, and I went to India at the beginning of October, so it's been legitimately 2 months now. We're ending in November. We've been above an $85 billion market cap, doing less than $3 billion in revenue. People are willing to pay that for Palantir because they believe in it outside of just the conventional metrics. And you could hate that, you could love that, but that is the reality. Like, that's what's happening with Palantir. The valuation presupposes that people are willing to pay. They see future growth and they don't care about the premium they're putting up. So my job then as an analyst versus Brent's job as an analyst, Brent's like, we have to protect investors. This is unsustainable, yada, yada. My job is like, well, wait a second. Is there more to the story? Is there something to the story that conventional metrics can't take a look at? And I think for the past 3 years, the retail community has always felt there's something more to the story. Not saying it's not expensive, but we've always felt there was something a bit more to the story. Brad Gerstner said it perfectly today. Valuations don't matter in a bull market, but when everything crashes, they all of a sudden matter. Look at PayPal. That couldn't move for 2 years. Yeah, I think look, that's also fair. The question is, if we enter into a bear market over the next couple of years and Palantir gets to like, I don't know, 150, I'm just putting out numbers now. When it crashes, does it go all the way back to 30? Or does it go back to 80, 90? Which is still a bad crash from 150. But for the people that have been in this thing since $10, it's like, all right, you just deal with that, right? As like the MicroStrategy people that got in at 50, it just went from 500 to 395 yesterday. Do you really care if you got in at 50? No, not really. You're just like, all right, I'm here. Unless it's going back to 50, which I don't think that's happening for MicroStrategy. And unless Palantir is going back to 10, I don't think that's happening. So it's kind of one of those benefits of being early, but it's also one of the things to recognize when we are in a market that has more momentum. Amit, are you worried about Microsoft Foundry competing with Palantir? Not really. We looked at some of the Microsoft stuff they put out today. I don't think it's necessarily that much of a concern. The Art of Value says, I'm sorry, but a predominantly Palantir media community channel is never going to say it's too expensive. It's so funny you're saying this because we have said for the past, I think you're new to the channel. We have said since $40, a majority of people in the chat have said this thing is way too expensive. We're all bullish and we're happy it's going up, right? But do you guys remember the day where I was like, I was trying to, this was like end of September, and we were trying to figure out, is there going to be a recession or not? I think, maybe there could be a recession, but it seems like it's a relatively strong market. And I was like, guys, what is the one stock that is out there that is actually like really overvalued, right? And Palantir was $34 at the time. And it was so funny. I started looking at like another news article, and then I came back to see the chat, and everyone in the chat was like, Palantir, 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 Palantir. So everyone is so bullish on Palantir in this community, but all of us know it's fucking expensive. All of us know that, right? So it's funny when people are trying to shit on the Palantir community as like we're a bunch of retail apes that don't understand anything about valuation. Like, no, dude, a lot of retail has been selling, and all of us know it's expensive. But we have a little bit of imagination to figure out why we think the toots are buying it and why we should keep holding if the toots are buying it. And the toots are buying it. So now I've been following your rise with the stock. Okay, then maybe you don't join enough streams. Because every day, first of all, I've been saying it's expensive. And the chat can definitely, since 35, bro, I've been saying it's expensive. Like at 35, at $85 billion, I was like, this is expensive. Like this is fucking expensive, right? And so what do you think I think at 150? It's also very expensive. And a lot of people in the chat think that as well, but there's other ways to value the company. There's other ways to value it at the end of the day. And look, a lot of these people, to be honest, they're just salty, bro. Sometimes they're just salty. Like, it's okay if you missed it, but it's salty. It's a lot of salt. If you missed it, you missed it. It's okay. Like, am I going to say Rocket Lab is terribly overvalued right now? No. Is it a little bit expensive? Sure, but I missed it. I missed 4 to 25 on Rocket Lab. That was a great run. I missed it. Okay, it is what it is. But I'm not going to try to like justify missing it by saying, oh, well, it was expensive at 7. It's like, no, it wasn't. You just missed it, buddy. And so same thing with Tesla right here. I mean, look at freaking Meet Kevin, right? Now Meet Kevin's back in the stock and he's like super bullish on it. He's like Tesla to the moon, yada, yada. It's like, okay, but at 150 or at 200, you were saying it's going back to 150, right? So you missed it and you have to admit you were wrong. It is what it is. Sometimes you miss it. And I think with a lot of people at Palantir, they fucking missed it at $10, $12. They thought that was expensive. It's like, okay, that's fine. Maybe you were correct at the time when it was stuck for 18 months, but now that it's 60, it is different. We were sitting here when Palantir was 6. That is correct. We were sitting here when Palantir was freaking $6. That's why it's so funny when people say that shit to me. They're like, you're just pumping Palantir. It's like, motherfucker, like, do you like the amount of sophisticated analysis we have on Palantir Weekly. The most funniest example, before earnings, all of us were bearish. All of us were like, dude, $40, this is expensive. Even with 30% growth, we think this thing is going to tank. 30% growth goes up 50%. Like all of us were wrong about it because we're an objective community. Even Arnie that can look at valuation, and Arnie's like, yeah, this thing is getting up there. But we're not selling because even if it goes back down, it's like, all right, that's a buy the dip. Like it's such a nice situation to be in when it's like, you know, something's expensive, but you know, if it falls back down, there is so much momentum around the energy and excitement of the stock that people are going to come in, which means it will probably still be expensive even after a 20% drawdown, but it doesn't matter because people are going to want it. And the only thing that doesn't make that happen is a massive recession, which is what we saw in 2022. That's when everything went to shit. But if you have little pullbacks here and there, those dips get eaten up. Even fucking Tesla, it was at 307 last week when Trump was doing this EV credit stuff. By the way, a report came out from Bloomberg today saying that Trump's actually not getting rid of the EV credit. Maybe that's why Tesla was up today. I saw that headline. I don't know if that's the reason, but maybe that was the headline because Tesla was slightly up. Yeah, about 3.8%. That could have been it. But like it was at 307, now it's at 350, right? The dip was eaten up. It was eaten up pretty aggressively. Beneficial says, I'm about to lock in some profits on some crypto stuff. I bought 10 different cryptos a few days ago. 5 of them are up like 40 to 50%, with some being up 100%. That's how you know crypto is back, baby. If you're up 50% in a couple of days, that's how you know crypto has some momentum. And see, that's what I'm saying. All these altcoins getting love. You got Cardano right here up 12%. I think this only adds to Bitcoin's momentum. I think a lot of people should be listening more to Michael Saylor, even if you don't buy MicroStrategy. I just think it's fascinating to listen to this guy justify the way he thinks about the financial ecosystem and the way he thinks about Bitcoin as an asset class. Like, it is just so interesting. The amount of conviction he has because he knows it has nowhere to go but up. Doesn't mean there won't be drawdowns, but he knows the end game is Bitcoin is higher. And the leverage he's willing to take on to justify that. It's pretty incredible just to hear him listen and actually speak about that at once. Bro, he's insane. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely argue he's insane, but so far he's been right on his analysis. So I'm reading a headline right here. Holy crap. Kalshi paid influencers to target Polymarket CEO after FBI raid. Holy crap. Following a 6 a.m. raid at Polymarket CEO Shane Copland's Soho residence on November 13th, Kalshi, a Polymarket competitor, paid social media influencers to boost news of the raid and push a narrative that Copland and Polymarket engaged in illegal activity, according to sources close to the matter and screenshots we viewed. That's not good for Kalshi at all. One source we spoke to told us that just days after the raid, a third party associated with Kalshi offered him $3,500 to write a hit piece on Polymarket. They have screenshots. Oh shit. Holy, hold on. I got to show this. You know what's so crazy about this, guys? Do you guys remember when I told you I got offered like $5,000 to tweet about the election markets? That was from Kalshi. Kalshi were the guys that it wasn't literally them. They went through a third party, and then the third party hit me up and he's like, I may admit, if you do like 5 tweets, we'll pay you like 10, 15 grand. And I was like, no, I'm not fucking doing that. Like, no, we're not doing that. I'm very thankful I didn't do that, especially now after they're fucking, this thing's coming out. This is not good, bro. They paid Antonio Brown to say this shit. Holy crap, dude. Look at this. They paid Antonio Brown money. This is why you never take money to tweet stuff, dude, ever. It's always something that's too fishy. If someone's paying you that much money to tweet something, it's probably because they shouldn't be paying you that much money to tweet something. Yo, AB, are you down to quote tweet this with something like this N-word seems guilty? Antonio Brown says yes. Brandon, this is the guy that runs Kalshi's social media. I know him. He's DM'd me before. Holy crap. Let's hit it. On flight, noon, you, Keaton, I don't know who that guy is. Let me know if you can get it up. Thanks, AB. AB, this N-word seems guilty. Holy crap, bro. That is wild. Now, how much did they pay Antonio Brown? Because Antonio Brown's not just some random account. Antonio Brown is like, he's a big account. I want to see if we get the amount of money they paid. Dude, that's a big one. That's a big one. The CEO declined to respond to it. How did they get this screenshot? I mean, that is crazy. Now, here's the question. Is this actually illegal? Is this actually like, if you pay someone to spread an agenda, does that follow underneath the First Amendment? Especially if it's not a stock, so it's not really pumping something, so the SEC can't get involved, right? Like if I don't like someone and they did something bad, and I pay someone $10,000 to retweet to their big audience a post about them doing something bad, can I actually get prosecuted for that? I feel like there's an argument you could probably make to get prosecuted, but I think there's also a counter argument that's like, no, that's just like a voluntary transaction of services of marketing for payment, and Twitter's a free platform. You can say whatever the hell you want. So maybe there's an argument there. Granted, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. It definitely doesn't look good. That's wild though, bro. That screenshot is crazy. Yeah, this dude, Brandon, dude, he hit me up. He hit me up back when Kalshi was going to the moon. And he was saying, hey, can you tweet some shit? And I was like, nah, Brody, not tweeting the shit. And then when Robinhood came out with their competitor, I was also happy. I was like, yes, let's go. Fucking Robinhood's about to kill these motherfuckers. Like, I don't think Robinhood would kill Kalshi, but like I trust Robinhood a lot more than Kalshi, you know? And that's why I like it. Yeah, look at this. This is the DMs. This is my DMs with him. Defamation is a thing. Yeah, I guess it's defamation. He said, hey man, circling on this in case you are open to partnerships this time around. Hey man, still the same. Congrats on all the growth, Joe. Incredible to see. That's it. That's it. You reject money when you don't know where the hell the money's coming from and when you don't want to sell out. Now, Antonio Brown, if they gave him like $1 million, I don't think he gives a fuck about any of this stuff. I mean, the Trump administration definitely paid Antonio Brown as well. Like, first of all, Kamala paid. Goodness, how many people? Kamala paid Beyonce tens of millions of dollars, Lizzo all this money. Like, tons of money was paid to influencers. I think Antonio Brown made a ton of money as well from Trump. Lil Wayne got paid from Trump. So all these, but those are legal to pay influencers to like say stuff. I think. I don't know if it's legal to like spread defamation. I could be wrong though. I could be super wrong. I don't even know if it counts as defamation. Diddy, yeah. Did you guys hear Ellen DeGeneres is leaving the country now, apparently? And this tweet that she put out about Diddy is trending from like years ago. She said if Trump got elected, she would leave the country. It looks like she is leaving the country. And this was the tweet she posted in 2016. Happy birthday, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, or as I call him, Cuddle McSnuggle stuff. You don't need to know why. Yeah, that tweet did not age well. It did not age well. Not at all. It did not age well. That was not a good one. But yeah, look, this is big news on the Kalshi thing. I don't know if there's gonna be legal action involved here. I think the story is probably gonna die out, and it's not gonna be that wild. All right, guys, we got an update on X payments. I got paid today. Who was here for my rant on X payments 2 weeks ago? Who was here in the chat for the rant? Because someone else got paid today, and I'm looking at her paycheck right now, and we're all going to look at it and bask in the glory of how much freaking money Elon is paying some of these people. $21,000 for 2 weeks. 21,000 for 2 weeks. 21 grand. For those that missed the rant, the TLDR was, I don't understand how some people are making 21,000 because they're getting engagement, but it's not like engagement that is like Elon Musk level engagement, even though Elon does respond to a lot of her tweets for 2 weeks. And, you know, I think I get some decent engagement. I got paid $400. Now, look, I am very grateful for the $450. I am not grateful for that money. Very grateful for $455.83. I'm grateful for any penny from X because I don't really do it for the money. But 21,000, bro, compared to 455, like, I just like it's like, how is that? Wow. In what world is that divergent? Like, how are they paying that much more to her versus me? That's a lot, bro. That's a lot. She's not showing cleavage or her ass or anything like that. She's like, she just shit posts, but she doesn't even post a lot of like, you know, those types of pictures. She doesn't do that. Like me waiting for Bitcoin to hit 100,000 in a picture with Trump. These are the types of posts that she does, right? Look, all power to her. I'm happy she's making the money. This is okay. I guess this is some of the stuff that gets engagement. I guess some of that. Look, I'm happy she's making money. I get it. Well, see Elon right here, quote tweeting her. That also helps her make money. The problem here is Elon quote tweeted me and I got 54 million views and then I made $400 that week. She's making 21,000. Like, I just feel like their discrepancy on how they pay people is very weird. Change your photo to a girl. Maybe that's what I have to do, bro. Maybe you gotta be a girl and you gotta fucking show pictures with an empty turkey or whatever, like wearing a dress. Maybe that's what you have to do. Maybe. Again, very grateful for the $458. I don't expect to get paid by Twitter. That's like awesome. Every 2 weeks, that's like another extra $800. That's amazing. It's just, bro, the way they pay people sometimes, it's hard to figure it out. She's not faking the money. She's not. She made 15,000 last week. She made 16,000 the week before that. It is fully legit. It's real money. She's making real money. She's making the most money I've seen on any influencer on X. And I don't even try to like make those types of weird engaging posts. I just try to create good content and continue to try to offer valuable content. But in general, it is wild to see the divergence of how people get paid. There's other accounts as well that make a couple $1,000 and they, like, I don't even know how. They don't even tweet a lot, so it's really weird. It's not Photoshop, trust me, it's very real. That is confirmed that she makes a ton of money on Twitter. My thesis was that she has a deal with X. Because like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Twitter wants more users. How do you get more users? You say, hey, you can get paid on Twitter. And then if people think they can get paid on Twitter, then they start posting on Twitter. And the motivation, the North Star has to be like this Tiffany girl making 21,000 in 2 weeks. If she's making 21,000, maybe I can make some money. And so you could argue that Twitter has a deal with her of like, hey, we're going to juice you up, give you a lot of money, just like post that you're making a lot of money. And then other people will be inspired to post on Twitter. And then boom, you get more content. That could be one argument. That's one argument. But that also could not be the case. It could also just be her content doing well. So is this stream on overtime? All of you guys are like, why is he keeping us hostage in this fucking stream? Oh my gosh. I think we should probably end it soon. We've been talking for a while. Granted, again, still very, very grateful about the money coming from it. It's just wild, bro. Sometimes when you compare how they're doing it, it is just wild. Again, YouTube is the best platform still to get paid. YouTube actually has like a monetization system. They have like ad mechanisms that are transparent, all this stuff. I think Twitter will get there. I really do think Twitter will get there. It's just they're not there yet. And so that's why you're seeing these different amounts that people get paid. Isn't your Grindr date waiting? You guys are funny, bro. You guys are funny. All I know is I'm up 7% on Grindr. That's all I know. I am up on my Grindr stock. What made you invest in Grind? I just think they have a monopoly on gay dating, bro. I mean, there's a longer thesis, so we'll talk more about it, but I really think they're the only platform in the next 10 years that gay people are going to use to connect, for lack of a better word. If that's the case, I think there's some money that could be made there. I think that's possible. You should look at some live streamers and their big $100 million deals. Yeah, there's some live streaming platforms that have paid people a lot of money. I don't know if I would ever do that, dude. Like if Twitch was like, hey, and they will give you, I don't know, $2 million to like do your market open and market close on Twitch. I don't think I would take the deal, bro. Like I care about growth more than anything. And the way to grow is to be on YouTube and to be consistent and to work with the algorithm to reach new people. Like any of these platforms willing to give you that much money, it's because they don't have the leverage, because if they did, they wouldn't be giving you that much money. Like YouTube's not paying me $2 million. Why? Because YouTube has all the leverage, because YouTube is YouTube and you're just one of many creators on YouTube. So working with YouTube to build an audience is important. But then if you go to a different platform, the biggest bottleneck is, will people actually go to that other platform? And most times, no, because people don't care that much, right? That's why Joe Rogan going to Spotify and getting that contract, that was big, because he was exclusive, but he had such a dedicated audience after 15 years. I guess he could justify it. But when most people do that, they tend to lose their audience. Yeah, as people say in the chat, there's no way I'm getting on Twitch. I don't like Twitch either, bro. It's like, I mean, I watch some Twitch streamers here and there, but I'm not like religiously on Twitch. But YouTube is a whole different world, bro. Another reason I'm thinking of buying Google is because of fucking YouTube, bro. It's like YouTube's not going anywhere. YouTube's just going to keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And so I think in 5 years from now, YouTube's way more valuable than it is today, as long as the DoD doesn't, or not the DoD, the DOJ doesn't break them up. So hopefully, you know, YouTube continues to do well. I bought some hood last week and already up 11%. I love it. That's amazing. Bro, gonna end the stream on after hours close. But at 8 p.m. we're going for another hour. All right, fine. We'll end it, bro. Damn. Dude, if there was one person here, I would still be talking. That's what it was like in the early days, bro. When there were 20, 35 people. I remember those days, 2022. We were yapping. That's the hardest thing when you start creating content early and like there's like no one in the chat, right? And there's just like 20, 30 people. You literally are talking to yourself. I mean, I'm still talking to myself, but there's just more people. But like it's one of those psychological things you have to get over. But once you get over that and you just enjoy the process of making content, then naturally, you know, hopefully more people tend to enjoy it as well. I walked into the living room at the wrong time. All I heard was Amit is up on Grindr. Dude, this is another reason I love the name, because everyone, whenever all of you guys are so bearish on it, you're like, oh, yuck, Grindr. And that's what you need for there to be alpha, right? You need people to hate it. People hated Palantir. People hated Robinhood. Steve couldn't even get behind Robinhood. Steve was like, I don't like it. You need people to hate that shit. And I like that people kind of hate Grindr when you mention it. But again, I don't think there's like a 4 or 5 bagger in there. I think maybe Grindr gets to $30 in the next couple of years. I really think it's going to be, so that would be a double. But, and that's not the most exciting. But I want to get Grindr right just to say I got it right. At this point, I just want to get it right to say I got Grindr. That's it. That's why I want to do that one. Davis, I was one of those 20 to 30. Yes, Davis, you were one of those 20 to 30. You know, the first market open I did, though, there was about 300 people there when I announced I was doing it for the first time ever. And a bunch of people showed up. I had a bunch of tech issues, all that stuff. And I remember that day. Dude, I still think, hold on, can we find that stream? Can we find that stream? But then when I started doing the market close and late night streams, you know, you didn't have that many people. But the problem with the market open originally is I was very inconsistent with it. There would be a lot of days where I just, like now, if I missed a day, a lot of you guys would be like, what the fuck? Where's the show, right? Like if I'm 2 minutes late, everyone's like, where's the show? But back then I would miss the show all the time because I was just like, I don't know, I was like sleepy. I didn't feel like waking up for it, right? Like there was no schedule, there was no consistency, there was no ambition, there was no vision for the show. But obviously that has changed. Let's see, Amit first ever market open. Dude, what did I title it? This was a long time ago. Oh, what was the title, bro? How am I gonna find this thing? Maybe it's in my most viewed. Dude, there's no way I'm finding this thing. This was a long time ago. Yeah, this was a while back, bro. I don't know if I'm going to find this. I want to see this, though, because you guys got to see this. This is a good one. Guys, look at the stream title. I think we were saying here until Monday. Yeah, I messed up. I said market open on the street. It's supposed to be market close. Where is this freaking... Where is the stream, dude? I know I'm going to find it. I know I'm going to find it. Give me 1 sec. I know I will find this thing. This was March 2022. Wait, can't I just scroll all the way down to March 2022? Does that work? Wait, yeah, I can just do that. Hold on. That's really quick. Hold on. Okay, we're going to do it together. We're going to do it together. Sorted by date. Yeah. So live, late. Oh, oldest. Yeah, that's so dumb. I could have said oldest. This is so stupid. Okay, is this the first one? Yeah, this is the title is Russia nukes their own currency. This was during the Russia-Ukraine stuff. All right, this is going to be so cringe. Oh my God. This is going to be so bad. Here we go. Are you guys ready? This is going to be cringe, bro. This is going to be cringe. Oh my gosh. What shirt am I wearing, bro?
All right. Hello, everybody.
Dude, now I'm like, good morning. This is like, hello. Well, like, what is going on? Look at this. I have no idea how to use the tech.
Hello. Everyone can hear me. Everyone's good. We are starting. It is 9:14. We were going to start at 9:15. This is the first official market open.
There was no energy, bro. There was zero energy.
Very, very happy that people are here. Everyone can hear? Okay, perfect. Microphone is working really well. Hello to the first official market open of this channel. This is the first market open I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to continue be doing this for the rest of my life. That is that is the goal here. We just reached 10,000 subscribers on the channel. Really appreciate everyone who subscribed. Big milestone. And now,
Peter, thank you for the $5 super chat. Was this when you were still with the Taliban? Okay, no, it was not. I was never in the Taliban, but I can understand your your perspective there.
now we're pushing up the ante. So over the past couple of months, obviously I've done a lot of Palantir content. Will be continuing to do Palantir content, but I'm trying to go for it. I'm trying to go for the meat amidst of the world, if you know what I'm saying. And to do that, we've got to diversify. We've got to push ourselves. We've got to have different boundaries, different challenges. And that's why we're here today. Before we get into the market open down into...
Okay, so hold on. I want to go to... Did I ring the bell on this one? Did I ring the bell?
Stuff, and that's coming from Russia, which brings up a question of energy efficiency, which is super important. Dirk Diggler for super...
I think to keep it...
I was streaming and I couldn't even show what I was streaming here, dude.
Black screen, but yeah, the screen was black. It's I'll get that back in a second. I don't know why the screen was black on that. I'll go back to that in a second. I think it's because YouTube TV was a different application.
Weeble was on light mode. It wasn't even on dark mode. I think I switched it to dark mode after people. Yeah, look at this. People are probably like, switch it to dark mode. Look at this.
Pretty bad in futures, and now we're making a little bit of a recovery. So on February 24th, this is when we got to the lowest of the spot. We got at 416, right? This is when we got into a correction territory, down 10%, but not bear market. Bear market is more so 20-25%. So we're not necessarily there yet. But now we can get to dark mode.
Look at this, bro. This is wild.
Settings. Oh, here we go. This is pretty easy. Dark. There we go. You guys are so right. This looks so much better. Oh my god. This like the white mode did not look. This is beautiful. Oh wow. You know why dark mode makes sense? Because you got to see the green and red candles. And if it's all white, how are you supposed to see the green and red candles?
Thank you, genius. That's so smart. That is such amazing analysis. That's great. All right. Well, that was fun. I'll put this in the chat for anyone who wants to watch it. Anyone who wants to watch me figure out that in a dark mode, the green and red actually stands out over the white mode. That was the genius takes at the time. But you got to start somewhere, right? You got to start somewhere. Everyone starts somewhere, and that was the start. I think there was like 200-300 people at the time. Wait, hold on. I can check right now. Let me go to analytics. Edit video. Analytics. Live that day, we reached a peak of 278 people. For the first show ever, that's not crazy, bro. 278 people actually showed up for me to figure out how to get to dark mode. That's, not horrible. Not horrible. All right, do we end it out? Are we done? What are you guys doing tonight? What are you guys doing on Friday night? I think I'm going to sleep, bro. We don't have any Palantir Weekly. I'm trying to get some rest tonight. I'm trying to actually go to bed. Trying to get some sleep tonight. What are you guys doing this weekend too? I actually have to do a couple things this weekend. But yeah, the majority of the weekend I should be pretty much free. Smoking a cigar. I love that. That's awesome. I'm gonna order some food with hood gains and watch some TV. Dude, it's so nice when it's a good Friday and then you get some food and you're like, all right, market's up. I can order some good food. It's literally one of the best feelings every time on the weekends. Got some whiskey from Theo. Watching Bitcoin attempt 100K. Where are we right now? Bitcoin 98.8. Went to Costco. Oh yeah, Thanksgiving is next week, bro. Thanksgiving's next week. Are you guys doing anything for Thanksgiving? I'm not I'm not doing anything special, just gonna be with the family, but nothing too crazy. XRP just broke above 52-week high. Steve is probably very happy right now on that. Basketball and studying options. I love that. That's amazing. Trying to bail Boeing out of a jam. Do you work at Boeing? Or do you work with Boeings? Boeing stock is getting more interesting, but maybe that 125 level gets a bit more exciting. Davis says he's country dancing. Davis actually legit goes to country clubs and dances, bro. Look, maybe I'm not that type of guy, but I guess that's what they do out there in Vegas. Go to country clubs and dance. It's cool though. I don't know. I'm not a country dancer. I did have a country phase though, back in 2006. Do you guys know the show Can You Duet? Do you guys know the show? There's got to be some people that know this show. Can You Duet? Dude, this shit got me into country music. I was like, it was 2008 or 2009. Can You Duet? Look at this. Yeah, 2008. I was right. It was a reality country music TV show. It was like American Idol, but for country music. This was my country phase back in 2008. Do you guys remember? Do you remember? Does anyone remember the show? It was a while ago. I work at Boeing. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Trying to not think about NVIDIA and practice patience like a Padawan. Dude, NVIDIA's going to be fine. NVIDIA's not going. Those earnings were amazing. Market's just not willing to give them too much of a premium after they've been up a ton this year. Country dancing is not at the country club. You're probably right on that. You were probably right on that. All right. I think we ended out. I think we end it for the day. It's fun market close. Thank you all for being here and listening to me yap. Hopefully you got some value out of that. Amit, we want to know if you like Delhi better or Jaipur. I like Delhi better just because I've been into more places than Delhi, but Jaipur was beautiful. It was amazing. So I love both, but Delhi, just being in the city was a little bit more exciting for me to see all my family, all that stuff. I will be looking at quantum stocks this weekend. I've got to look at Target this weekend, the quantum stocks, and there's another one that I have to look at. There's a couple that are on the list that you guys mentioned to me that I'll be looking at. Oh, Axon Enterprises. This is one that I'm looking at. AXON. I think some of you guys know this one. This one's like a really important one. This is another one that I'm going to be looking at this weekend as well. And that's pretty much it. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. We will be back on the market open. No Palantir Weekly today. Probably no stream tomorrow. And then Sunday night, we'll be back on the future stream and keep going from there. Raul says, you're still on, bro. I took a nap like an hour and a half ago and you're still on. Yes, we are still on. Hopefully you enjoy if you listen back to the stream. 3 hours and 30 minutes. All right. That's it for me. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. Thank you for being here every single day. It means the world to me. Cannot express how grateful I am to be able to do this every day. Truly means so much. And I hope no one ever thinks that I take it for granted. It's a big responsibility to be here every day, but I am very, very humbled and excited to be doing it every single day and excited to do it and be here and cover the markets. It's just the coolest thing ever. And I'm happy to do it. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you guys Sunday on the Future Show. Good night, everyone. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.